really did pull myself back in before we started this chat, because I was going to do. I don't know why I watched it the other day. Do you know your video where you leave the camera on?
Which one was that?
You did like a little video where you just go. So well, I'll see you the next time.
Oh yeah,
so when you hear me doing these videos,
I won't lie. I was supposed to edit that part out. And even on the title of the file on my computer, it said, "Please edit." As a reminder to myself, I just ended up uploading it.
I love it. It popped up in my do you know you watch this kind of stream? Yeah, I've watched it before, but it popped up the other day. I was gonna when I came back on, I was gonna be like, so do you know what? If I was to do, say if I was to do 12-minute, if I could pull it off. I was on Simon's Instagram earlier. He's doing on Instagram. You can bring one other person on live. It actually works really well.
I got a notification that you and Craig were doing it, but when I clicked,
I just tested it. Simon couldn't get it to work.
Okay.
So that was a test because I thought Simon would just be stupid. But he actually just wasn't working properly on his phone. But it worked really well actually. But I did find myself just finding like ridiculous in my head and just started laughing to myself. I'm like, ignore me. I'm just making jokes up. Just like he was like, oh, I'm gonna make some big changes on the channel. I'm like, you're gonna go all nude? And he's like, no. See, Thomas Capera, he does these reviews where he's got like a GoPro on the end of the stick, and I'm in my head starts going, right, nude reviewer, GoPro on the end of a stick. That would be quite entertaining.
Can't fix them back at him.
So these are all these things while he's talking about those ridiculous childish things.
Simon's a very serious reviewer, by the way.
I told him about it was AMSRN or whatever it was.
Oh, the ASMR.
ASMR.
That'd be interesting to see Simon do an ASMR video.
I told him about the last time we talked about you. Stone the Crows. that killed me. That did.
Yeah, but I still need to make that video.
I was. Did you see his rant video about what was it about? About the guys who ordered the wrong beer at the bar.
Oh, when he was working, he was running the pub for a while.
Yeah,
I think he was just venting his frustrations about the irritating, stupid customers.
30-minute rant video on the guys ordered Guinness.
Yeah, it was.
But he said some very true things. He did, but.
It was like he was coming. He was unraveling a little bit in front of our eyes.
Yeah,
but it was quite funny. Yeah, I guess ASMR videos. When Jake came and stayed at our house last week, we ended up. It came up in conversation, and we ended up watching a bunch of them like that. It's good. This is mental.
Very strange in my head right now.
And it turns out he's actually kind of like he's listened to him like before, and it works for him.
Oh, so it's like falling asleep. It's like
but oddly, but then we did realise it was 2:30 in the morning. We were like, oh shit, 7:30 for you to go home. Yeah, so I was at Dark City, which was for Wolfgang's kind of benefit. So last week, there's a prominent brewery, kind of in the major city near me, who did a dark beer festival last week. Kind of invitational beer festival. So some of the best breweries from the UK, some from America and Europe, and the ABV averaged out at 9. Yeah.
Average.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
And it opened at 12 o'clock at noon, and the session finished at 4. Into bars afterwards, and then we ended up back at mine, and we opened some. We did a couple of review. We did a review, and then opened a couple of cans, and then it was 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Back at the festival the following at noon again. It was really good.
I'm really surprised how much and then there were in the sentence, because after they averaged out at 9 ABV, I didn't think there were gonna be much and then.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's always an and then when it comes to the UK beer tubers.
I think the strongest was 16.5.
Oof.
Money Scout from Lervig.
Yeah. Nice.
What one was? That's 6. It was like a brown ale. But no, it was a lot of fun. I didn't feel that drunk actually, surprisingly. After the festival, I didn't feel that drunk. At the end of the night, I did.
I can imagine the next day.
Me and Jake did a review quite late on at the festival as well. So I think we did 1, maybe 2. It's one of those things you kind of get together, you get chatting, and then you go, "Oh, we should do some videos." And into it, and then it's over. So
yeah.
But hopefully we'll do a bit more. I mean, we're meeting in me, Craig, Jake, and maybe Harry down there, London.
Yeah, that should be fun.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to those videos.
Yeah, I think we'll probably be a bit more proactive.
Vlog of that.
You should do it, shouldn't you? You should do a vlog.
Yeah. And it'd be perfect if he got a shot of like 4 pigeons, 4 or 5 pigeons.
No, but
honestly, Max has eluded me right now.
Trafalgar Square with all those pigeons.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do watch your vlog videos more than I do watch your beer reviews. It's not that you do great beer reviews, but the vlog videos are just the entertaining thing. You know, the really funny stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I do actually enjoy doing the vlog sort of videos a little bit more because it's kind of like a little bit of a break from just setting up the camera, talking about a beer. It's a bit more free flowing. I mean, there's no structure to my reviews anyway, but there's like a little bit more of a conscientious part when it comes to the editing of the videos, that sort of thing. And that's the weird thing. It's the Hangouts and the vlogs that get much more views than the actual reviews themselves.
It's anyway, beer reviews are not something you're gonna get much views on YouTube.
No.
Yeah, that's a fact. There is no reviewer who really get a lot of views regularly on their beer reviews. There is just no one. Yeah,
but it's such a... I'd say it's becoming a bit more of a bigger niche now because the world of craft beers... it's not just a lot more accessible to other people. It's just in the social conscious a lot more.
Special interest.
Yeah, but when it comes to like the little like hobby groups that you find on YouTube, if you were to categorically like compile them from popularity, I don't think the beer side of stuff would like even embrace like the top tiers of like even like the top 100 subjects. I think it's still, even though there's so much content out there, I still think it's like a tiny little part of a much bigger thing.
Yeah, totally. As if you're doing this for the views, it's not the thing to do. No. I'm not doing it for the views. I'm doing it mainly to just get. I love just making videos, and it's for me. Talking about the taste of a beer is making the beer more interesting for myself. I'm really doing this for me. Because when I talk about something I like and talk about the taste and analyzing it, I get more out of it. This is just instead of making, I could just take a notepad and take notes, and it would be the same thing most. But YouTube is more interactive. I just love it. Just more fun and cutting the thing, and I'm doing actually a lot of editing on my videos. Is also funny.
Yeah, the whole process of it all is, I'd say, a lot more fun. And the fact that, I do these like hangouts, and I've got to know,
and they're really nice.
Guys like yourself, Wolfgang, Rob, and then all the UK beer tuber people and guys over in the States, and it's that I think that aspect appeals to me more than the actual reviewing of the beers itself. Even though I love doing it, I love like changing up every now and then. Sometimes I'll want to read the tasting notes as I'm doing the review to see if I can pick up on those flavors. But then one time I'll just try and go in as blind as possible. I mean, I reviewed this tonight, which is the Joseph Holt Maple Moon, and after I've reviewed it, I have no idea what the base ale was for this, aside from the fact that they'd added maple and Cascade hops to it. And some people would probably end up deleting that video because they didn't detect like the fundamentals of the beer. But I think if you do that, it sort of takes away from your own learning process.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because I'm happy to receive a comment from someone who says a completely contrasting viewpoint on a beer, or says something, oh, didn't you pick up on this, and this? And if someone was to say, well, you said it contains this hop, well, this hop has these characteristics. It's all part of like a process in itself.
Yeah.
Because I'm not here to inform people, because as much as I love like tasting beer, I know if I was to be like tested on it, I would probably do really bad. But it's not about that for me.
Are you still in Germany, by the way?
No, I'm back in the UK now, unfortunately.
Because there is this beer sommelier thing in Germany and Austria,
Unfortunately. Yeah. It's not that bad. I know what you mean. It's a funny old situation. You should do a bit of judging, Peter. I mean, they'll have anybody. I mean, get in touch with Seba. Seba, I'd say, as far as experiences go, Seba's quite good. But irritating. But you should try and get involved. Just because
I'd love to take it to that like next step, just to get involved with the local scene as not just as a consumer, but to like actually mingle and stuff. And that's what I love about it. It's you can if you're like fully conscious, you don't have to be an expert of it, but if you're like fully conscious of the hobby, you could be sat in a bar, and for all you know, you could be talking to like one of the best brewers in the UK who's just happening to have like a pint of, or like a third of a beer that he's been, or he or she, can't stress that enough. But it's like you don't know who you're going to bump into. For all you know, you could.
That's it.
And that's what I love about it. And from my experience,
I guess there's a whole situation with like with this. I mean, it's the social, it's the kind of the enjoyment of the subculture, kind of like what we experience like through something like this. It's taking that kind of thing to the next level. Kind of actual people involved in it. You meet people on all kind of levels. I mean, it might be. I mean, say I'm hanging around with some people who do a podcast, but then some guys who I know who, well, I mean, they're now friends, but I know him because he watches my channel.
Yeah.
And he was, when I was in San Diego, he told me like about a donut place to go to, and then I randomly bumped into him in Manchester when I was with Stuart, and Stuart was getting a bod on because in Beermoth they don't have pump clips. He likes to take pictures of pump clips, and he was in such a sulk. He was like a small child. It was ridiculous. He couldn't take his pictures. But then, and then there were these couple of two couples who they do a thing on Twitter called "Be a More Social," and we encourage kind of people to get out and meet people. You should meet them. They're from Stockport, yeah. You should meet up with those guys. Really, really good set of people. And I know them because they volunteered at Hub City last year, and I was looking after the volunteers at Hub City last year. So it's always got a weird little.
Yeah, there's always connections and
this network,
crossroads and.
So I mean, as much as you mean, if you kind of went to like a beer festival in Manchester, chances are somebody will recognise you.
Yeah.
And look at them and go, "Oh, are you thinking off the internet?"
Yeah, and I'd be very awkwardly. Yeah, yes, I am.
It's hilarious, especially when they ask for photos and things like that.
I never usually greet people like this.
See, if you go into a pub in the north, primarily, I'd like to say just Yorkshire, but in the north with Stuart will get recognised quite often. Might be quite odd people. Smelly people. But yeah, he gets recognised all the time, and he's always happy to kind of like meet people and stuff like that. And then he'll make friendships based on that.
Yeah.
And I guess the big thing, even in that beer festival situation where you kind of know people, or you might just find yourself in a group with one person you know and you don't know anybody else. You say, "Oh, what are you drinking?" It starts because that is your shared interest. It's like going to a gig in a lot of ways. That's what I always kind of see as similar to the kind of music scenes I was connected to. You're all there for the same purpose. You're all into the similar kind of things.
Yeah.
You're kind of like contrasting tastes, but you're all there for the same reason. So it's fun. It's what brings people together.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best experiences that I've had from doing the beer reviews was when I was at the Regensburg Craft Beer Festival earlier this year, and I made like a beeline. I made the beeline to go to the Pirate Brew Berlin tent because I'd only had one beer and it was a collaboration. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna see if I could try every beer that they've got, because I really want to try this brewery, even though there's what some people would consider more exciting breweries at the event. So I was like, no, this is for me. And then I went over there and I didn't even have to like say anything. They knew instantly, "Oh, you reviewed that beer, didn't you?" So that like starts, it's a little bit weird at first when you get approached like that, but we were just talking, and then they were like telling me about like how like competitive the brewing scene can be, and that there are mishaps. It's not always this like happy like family. There will be not rivalries, but there'll be like conflicts because it's Germany. You've got the people who are for the purity laws, and then you've got the people who are like completely against it. So we were talking about that. We were going in depth. We were just having a good time, and it was like that would have never have happened if I hadn't have just posted that one review on YouTube of a beer that you could pretty much only get in Germany, and it was an English-speaking review of a German collaboration beer. But then when you see the people, they talk to you, you start getting into it, and you're like, you're just like, I can't wait to see you next time, that sort of thing. And it's just amazing how that's whole world.
Although there are only a few hundred people involved with each of our channels. Yeah, these are the beer people. This is the industry. These are the people who are really interested in it. And if you go to these festivals, and especially in our region, well, they know me. I've just been at it for a year or so, but also before that, you can make a certain mark for yourself, and you will be received differently. And I've had beer delivered from, by the way, Schlenkerla and other breweries. Just what do you think of it? Taste it and make a video, please, if you like. You know? And that's kind of really funny, and that makes it worth it. Although they are just 100 views on a video or so. No? I could probably do better with another topic. Yeah, I've got this video opening Strauss egg with a few thousand views, but yeah, I like the beer videos because I'm passionate about it, and you do get the response from the beer community, and you do get the validation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've never had a negative experience from doing beer reviews on YouTube. I mean, I don't even think I've really received like a dickish. You get the odd troll comment, but you know not to take that seriously. But I've never had like anyone take an issue with what I've said. I mean, I had when I was at the craft beer festival. I had someone.
I'll troll you.
A brewer did like he wasn't annoyed, but he made a point of it. He was like saying, "Oh, I saw the review of the beer that you did of our beer. I found it weird that you were frying onions at the time, though." And I was like, shit.
What was it?
It was I think it was the Eichhofner Hopfengarten.
Need to watch it.
Because I'm just like there, like every couple of minutes, just off, like slightly off camera, just stir my onions because I'm frying onions off. It's no way impeding on me smelling this beer, by the way.
It's going. It's quite oniony.
Yeah.
A lot of onion, a lot of sharpness, a lot of acidity. A little bit more caramelized.
It's like slightly singed, but still sweet.
There lies another genius kind of like angle to come drinking while frying.
Yeah, that's how you do. That's the next big trend on beer.
Okay, a lot of bacon.
Yep.
Bacon and egg, loads of egg. You know, oily character from this one.
Well, I need another beer. Come along with me, and we're going.
Let's see what's in the fridge.
Actually, I'm going to the cupboard that's out there, outside of my flat.
It doesn't have the same ring as let's see.
No.
Let's see what's in the fridge.
So great beer reviews.
Let's see what's in the cupboard outside my flat.
It pairs perfectly with your stronger cheeses like Gorgonzola and Macedama.
Thinking about this one.
Brauschneider.
I think it's a classic IPA. Yeah, IPA.
Nice label.
Yeah. Nice design on it.
Come on, beat.
Well, I think on that note, I need to get myself another Elvis juice.
What?
So I shall be right back, and then I need to respond to comments.
Ooh, we have
he
comments.
says like half an hour in.
How does
yeah, 3. We've had 3. It's all good. All right.
Trolling us. I'm trolling us. No. So what kind of IPA is that then?
Well, IPA. Classic IPA, Brauschneider. It's a pretty well-known Austrian brewery. Actually haven't had it before. I bought it for reviewing purposes, but now it's for drinking purposes. So get this out of the way. How do we see the comments? I haven't seen any comments in the chat.
I'll have to go on to the actual stream.
Oh, okay.
And watch it like you're watching it.
I know. Let's see.
I was thinking there was a brewery that did from Austria, because I was involved in a festival earlier this year.
What festival?
And it was very in Austria, and they were. Oh no, it's not. It was Switzerland. Same difference. Switzerland, that was it. That's what I was thinking. Not Austria. So I was just looking on. It's in a search for Austrian kind of like craft beer, and the one that came up that rung a bell was Bevog.
Yeah, Bevog. They are actually just 60 or 70 kilometers away from my home.
Oh right, okay.
That's
don't they
really
like border on somewhere? Don't they border on a different country?
Yeah, they're close to Slovenia. And the owner is actually from Slovenia, and he just opened the brewery in Austria because apparently, but I don't believe him, the bureaucracy was easier to manage. I don't think so, but that's, yeah, that's
I remember when they first appeared, and I thought they kind of like seemed to be more of a kind of they seem to be a Slovenian brewery by all the details on the website and the bottles and stuff.
They are more Slovenian than Austrian, but who cares? You know, Slovenia and Austria. This is it's a gradient. You know, it's not a hot. There isn't. That's a Slovenian. That's an Austrian. It's yeah. But it's rather Slovenian. Yeah, but yeah, they're for me they're neighbors. They're yeah. But it's actually one of the 3 great Austrian craft breweries that if you want beer from Austria, if you want craft beer from Austria, there are 3 breweries you need to get. Bevog is one of them. The second is Birol. Birol is probably the first and Bevog is second. And the third is Brew Age. Brew Age Vienna, Birol, Tirolia, and Bevog from Styria. That's the 3 great breweries from Austria, the craft breweries. The Bevog style is very US. Yeah. It's pale ales, IPAs, very not West Coast, East Coast style rather.
Yeah, I had the black IPA a couple of months ago.
Yeah, fruity stuff. Absolutely, and they do a lot of special brews, and they did a black IPA with well, what's the word for it? The red juicy root, you know. Red root. Just let me have a look. I need to use a dictionary.
So I didn't realize Sammy Klaus is from Austria.
No, it's Switzerland. Oh, is it?
So I have a bottle of Sammy Klaus that is 5 years out of date.
Red Tulips. Red Tulips. They did a black IPA with red tulips.
Right. Yeah, okay.
It looked.
I'm just on right here. Brew Age. I didn't realize they were Austrian. I've had some stuff from Brew Age.
Yeah.
Sent a bunch of beers from those guys the other day. Nothing remarkable.
They do have really good beers. Some of them, not always. The specials, so yeah. Brew Ages, yeah. I'm personally not much of a fan, but they're pretty renowned. But to be honest, Austria craft beer needs to step up a bit.
Mm. So as far as kind of craft beer, besides the local stuff, what's the most prevalent? Is it German? Is it American? Is it? It's often quite surprising what kind of seeps into certain cultures, really. I mean,
so for me,
where are those kind of like those imports predominantly coming from?
For me, personally, or do you? Or,
well, what you see in shops, I guess.
Well, the strongest craft beer influence is from the US. My point of view. It's weird, but for me to be a bit more personal, I like the impact the whole craft beer movement has made on the local brewers scene. That's what I'm really fond of. That old beer styles have been renewed. That big breweries are trying to be different, to get a bit more taste into the brews. That's the thing that really fascinates me. And well, just being a bit more, getting a bit more of a taste of the individual styles of many breweries. So for me, the most influential stream of craft beer has certainly been the US, because this is just the mainstream. This has just been what awakened it all, But here in Austria, probably the Belgian style and the German style is more present, also in craft brewing, because this is rather what they do. They're a bit more tuned down. It's not so hoppy. It's a bit more about yeast and the barley. Yeah. That's probably more. Did make more of an impression. It kind of had to go across the big lake to the US, and then it had to come back, and then we realized what we had. That's a bit how it works here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was listening to a podcast earlier today talking about that very thing. They were tasting influenced. Sorry, a Belgian influenced British beer, but then at the side of it, a Belgian one, with that comparison of, is the version which has been influenced by the kind of classical version as good, more interesting, better, worse than the kind of authentic? So like a contemporary, maybe American hopped saison next to Saison DuPont. And a lot of time, I think the attitude was better. But then again, does that stunt growth? Because it's like one of the comments made was a lot of saisons you'll find. They're packed with additional ingredients and hops that you wouldn't normally find in a traditional one. So why aren't more, say, British breweries making like authentic kind of saison? His comment was, well, you can get Saison DuPont for like £2.50, so why would you even bother? So it's kind of like, if you're trying to match it, you're not gonna hit the mark. If you want to like riff on that, if you want to elaborate on that style, I think that's what American craft beer is kind of like synonymous with. It's taking that style and like turning it up a bit, or taking it in an interesting direction. So I don't think there's much in trying to do nailing an authentic style. There's not much legs in that, but it's more to do with.
We had a very interesting discussion just shortly before we went live, and then sadly we didn't go live right there, because I think it was one of the was rather interesting. There is this issue with craft breweries, especially in the old world, in Europe. They have the stigma of brewing only to the extremes and not mastering the basics. And we talked about what really great standard styles we love. And we came across this one brewery. It's a Munich brewery, Tillmanns. And they brew a Bayerisch Helles, a very simple style of beer. But they do it so perfectly, so refreshing, and so on the point. It's a craft brewery. And more breweries, especially in Germany and in Austria too, and a bit Italy. They're trying to first master the basics to make a really, really good Helles, a really good Märzen, a perfect Pilsner, a perfect Pale Ale. And then they start experimenting with the components. Okay, now we have this, we have the recipe and the skill for the perfect Helles. What is if we add a little bit of aroma hops? And then we do this. And then they get, I think this is the way to get to a level where the whole thing, the whole craft brewery scene in Europe, especially in Europe, can be pushed to the next level to get really creative. Because I think to be creative, you need to know what you want and make it, not the other way around. Make something and say you wanted it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's a certain point you can take experimentation to when you just blindly throwing stuff together. So yeah, I think going back to what Wolfgang was saying, I'd love to see some of like even the most like more established experimental brewers, just like done in the past, but just going back to basics and just having like a range of just very simple but accomplished styles of beer from all around the world. Like, you know, just a simple but well brewed lager, Helles, could be a Dortmunder, could be a Vienna, could be a Czech style. It could be anything, but just get a very base recipe.
Yeah. Or
and they've probably done this time and time again. Yeah. They've probably done this level. That's probably where they all started off, just like going through like a very basic recipe book or getting a very basic kit and just following it to a T. But it would be interesting to see like Mikella just do like a regular lager, or Omnipollo doing
and Mikella
just doing a normal lager. Pilsner or something like that.
I love it. Just a basic lager.
No, I mean, yeah, American Dream is essentially just the lager. I think
that's the thing. These breweries, they brew so much that it's easy to like look over some of them, or we just did a Pilsner.
Actually, there's a wonderful in the middle of Copenhagen. There's this kind of like gourmet food market, and there's a place that in there what sells Sommerbrød. They're beautifully presented. They're very nice. I've eaten there twice. But their draft beer is Mikkela's American Dream. So just there.
Okay, see, I like that sort of stuff. As much as I love like the really experimental nature of breweries like Mikella, Tuol, Omnipollo, it just interests me that they do like very basic. I mean, Mikella's single hop series. I had the Citra. That was a fantastic showcase of the Citra hop I found. And I'm like, I'm happy to try more of this sort of stuff. I mean, I know we've come a long way.
Citra, actually.
Yeah.
You get it in the beer mail?
Yeah. When was that? That was August.
I've got one now. I hope it's not from all. I hope it's not the same canning. Bet it is.
Probably. That was a really good beer mail. I just wish there was more dark beers in there.
I got they had a lot of sours in it.
Oh, okay. I'm
like
hoping. Yeah, I saw that. I'm interested about the Christmas beers because I saw the one of the guys from Mikella did. Well, he was in front of camera, but they did like here's what you get in this month's beer mail sort of video. Mm-hmm. And that was really interesting, but I'm hoping with it because I mean I won't lie, I only renewed my contract because someone actually clicked on the referral link. I mean, you can't say no at 10 different Mikella beers for 20 quid.
That's why I did it.
Yeah.
22 pounds, including postage. And I got a bottle of Driefontein and Eau de Gueuze, which is essentially worth about £12.
Yeah. So I'm hoping with it being December when they ship it out. I just want one. I just want one dark beer that I could potentially put away for like a year or so. I'm happy to have like more of the like single hop beers, or like here's another hoppy Pilsen that we've brewed. That's perfectly fine, because I do enjoy those beers as long as they don't go overboard with the hops and it just becomes like a very thin-bodied pale ale. But I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably do it again if I could get the. I don't know. I wouldn't do it full price, but I'd get it again for half price.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
It's just a tight ass option.
I don't know if I could do the like proper beer club.
I've got a couple of friends who do podcasts. They're from Manchester, well, Manchester area. Tom's from St Helens, but Ross is quite local, and it's like one of the regular features on their podcast where they go through the entire box in one sitting.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like the two of them. It's good actually, and by the end of it, and they rate the beer and they rate the artwork as well on the label, but they wind each other up as well. It's worth listening to.
That's one thing.
Beer Nomicon.
Beer Nomicon.
Yeah, two kind of Manchester lads just swearing at each other and saying shit.
That's one thing I absolutely adore about Michela is I always forget his name. The guy who does the artwork for them.
Oh yeah,
Keith Shaw.
Yeah, Keith Shaw.
I bought a book of him. He recently issued a design book. I bought it. It's amazing, really.
Yeah. I tell you, that the festival that they had this year, Haven.
Oh yeah,
that looks really good.
Music festival, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'd like to think that I'd be able to volunteer at one of these events next year.
Why do you think you'd like to?
I know I'd love to. I'd love to.
Why don't you?
Just for the experience. I think I'm going to put an application in. Look into it. That'd be just fantastic.
Yeah, these guys at the beer events, they know shit really. They just know how to get a beer from a tap. That's all they do. They don't know much about beer usually. Really, these are just workers. You'd be great there. Everybody, what? If you want to work in Austria, I can get you in the studio beer. It's no problem. Really, you can have it tomorrow. You can work at the Vienna Beer Festival. I can do that for you. No problem, really. So if you really want to. But I'd rather love you to come along and taste with me if you want. By the way, anyone who's going to be in the Vienna Beer Festival this end of November?
Yeah. I remember when I volunteered a couple of years ago at the Regensburg Craft Beer Festival, and I got sent home because I'm not sure. Do you get beers from Raunchier? They're a German-based Raunchier.
Can you just post it in the chat? I'm not sure. I know how you pronounce. But yeah, I know getting sent home from beer festivals, I don't know. I'm usually carried home.
Okay. Well, I had to get sent home because of health and safety reasons. Because the people at this stand I knew because they sent me beer, and I was just like walking around. I was like helping with taking empty glasses back and getting new glasses and asking if different breweries needed help.
Yeah.
And the guys over at Raunchier, they were like, "Oh, Peter, we've got this new barley wine, and I don't know if you can try it." And me thinking I was Mr. Big Dick, over here. I was like, yeah, I'll give it a try.
You have to.
As I was trying the beer, the organizer of the festival was walking past, and he said, "Peter, can you come here for a second?" And I was like, oh. And he was like, "Unfortunately, it looks bad when a volunteer is drinking some of the beers." And he said, "I've seen you and a couple of the other people drinking, at the end of like when it's not busy and stuff, but you can't do this." And he was like, "Please give me your card back." He had like the card around my neck with the volunteer Mitarbeiter. I was like, okay, can I just like not sit out for a few minutes and come back in? Because I really wanted to stay because I was really enjoying it. And he was like, "No, Peter, you need to go home now." So I was like, okay.
Here's the thing.
It was perfectly fine for me next year because he gave me a press pass. So
you're working for the wrong beer festivals. Really, this is not supposed to happen that way.
To be fair though, that year that was the biggest craft festival that had happened in Germany up until that point. So I was proud to be kind of involved in that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, but they should have let you drink. What the hell? You didn't get wasted, did you? You just had a taste. Or did you pass out on the floor?
Don't have to like that in UK. Oh, it's very strict. So at Indie so for Wolfgang's benefit, so the Independent Manchester Beer Convention, which is probably the biggest UK craft beer festival, not in size, just in reputation. So between sessions, they weigh kegs. Discrepancy. They ask questions.
What, really?
Because the festival buys the beer. It's like fair enough. I mean, the festival buys the beer.
Yeah.
You've got people running the bar from a brewery giving out glasses of beers to the mates, or volunteers giving out glasses of beers to the mates. So it's like fair enough, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know if it creates like goodwill. I mean, I think when you've got a volunteer, you should be expecting. Okay, they shouldn't take the piss, but at the same time, you don't want them. It's not a fucking job. I'm giving up my time to do this because I've got an interest.
Yeah.
If I spot you taking the piss, I'm going to kick you out. Fair enough. I mean, if you don't have responsibility and you're giving away beer and stuff, but it just seems a bit.
Yeah. I mean, when I was volunteering, because I did multiple like jobs for the 2.5 days that I was working, and for one evening they had me actually on the, because they had a beer brewed for the festival by one of the local breweries, and they had me like pouring the beer for people.
Yeah. And
I was just like, I was going about it because they were doing out of the bottles, and you had to be. I mean, I was never really precise. I mean, I wasn't, like giving people like half a glass full of beer, but it feels like a little bit over. I was like, oh, okay, just take it. And I was just like doing that. And one of the guys comes over and he goes, "Have you actually tasted this beer?" And I was like, no, because we're not actually allowed to drink the beer while we're volunteering. And he was like, "Oh, just take 10 minutes off. Take a couple of bottles. Just have a taste of it." And I was like, okay. And then I could actually, when customers were asking, "Oh, so can you tell me about this beer?" In my very broken German at the time, well, I'm still speaking very broken German. I could give them like keywords and tell them like, give them flavor profiles if they asked. And and as soon as that happened, I was like, an hour later, "Oh, Peter, can you go back to this place?" I was like, I was really having fun pouring these beers. for people.
It's really.
You should get. I'm sorry. No.
I'm sorry. I'm being really angry a little bit because this. How do they expect people to serve them beer and talk to them about the beer at the beer festival if they are not allowed to taste the beer?
I'm not.
It's great that they encouraged you to do so.
Yeah, I'm not. I would never criticize the festival or the organizers because I've
that's not what I'm talking.
I've got no reason to. But
I'm talking about principle.
Yeah, but the thing that I found when I was volunteering was when I was talking to other volunteers, I was talking about beer most of the time.
Yeah,
and a lot of them were like, "Oh, I'm just a student. I'm just here just to make a little bit of extra," because it was a mini job sort of deal, like the €450 sort of. I'm not sure if that's the same in Austria as it is in Germany. Wolfgang. It's basically.
I'm just sorry. I'm kind of. This makes me, I've got a good friend who runs a beer pub in Graz.
Yeah,
it's the city where near the biggest city around here. It's the second largest city in Austria, and he has a beer pub in the city, and he always complains that he can't find suitable servers in his pub because they don't know shit about beer and they were not passionate about beer and they can't sell craft beer to the people like he does. Of course, they can sell it if they aren't passionate about it, because you can't sell someone a beer triple the price of a normal standard ale, commercial ale. If you're not passionate about them, can you tell them why this beer is more expensive and why it is better? And then we got into talking and we said about, why didn't you make a tasting with these guys and do the drink the beer? And they say, no, they don't drink the beer. They don't drink beer at all. And actually, I don't allow them to drink beer while they're on their shifts. Then I said, you don't allow them to taste the stuff they're serving, but you expect them to be passionate about it and know about it. And you're telling me that your business isn't running because the guys you are employing to sell beer aren't doing it because you don't let them enjoy it and don't let them experience what they're selling. And this made me really angry. And this is, this is the point. If you want people to sell your product, you need them to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
And if beer, and if it's something you can taste, you need them to taste it and drink it, and you need to get them drunk on it. And a beer festival, how can you? Yeah, it's really it's puzzling me. How can someone forbid the people, like you said, they're weighing the cask and you can't give beer away? It's, what are you doing if there is someone this is a beer critic from an important magazine or someone with a really important YouTube show, and this guy, and give them a beer for free because you are afraid that they are weighing the cask and you have to pay for the beer you're giving out to this guy. It's so stupid. And I love that you had this guy who said, "Taste the beer." That's great. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. I got on a little rant there, but this makes me it's just puzzling me. It's just making me really, really angry because it's so stupid. Sorry.
No need to apologize, because I can completely relate to that whole thing. It's like, I get it. A lot of these sort of festivals, especially if it's in a big city, of course you're going to get like one of the local students wanting to volunteer. If it's paid, they've got a little bit more extra money in their pocket. It's always good for like the CV and stuff. But at the same time, it's like, if they're asked questions, they're just going to be stood there like, I don't know. Because how bad is that when someone's pouring a beer? Say, oh, can you tell me about this beer? I've got no idea. I'm just pouring beers for people. I've poured so many beers and I don't know what this beer is like. No idea. Not even had a simple sip. Got no passion in this sort of thing. I mean, it's fair enough. You get students who volunteer because they want to volunteer. They want to. Especially my situation, it was a lightly paid experience, but I wasn't just doing it because it was a little bit. It was like, I get to talk to brewers. I was hoping I got to talk to fellow beer enthusiasts, and it was a great experience. But I actually really didn't have much to talk to when I was like, "Oh, you can have a break now, Peter," and it's like, "Okay, I'm at a beer festival, and I can't talk about beer because nobody wants to talk about beer. What should I talk about?" And I was like, I don't know. So I just like walk around and like find jobs to do, that sort of thing. But
I want you to get involved with Wigan Camera.
Wigan Camera
Beer Festival, just to see the start contrast. I'm on their website, and I just if you've never looked, their logo
never looked
is
into Wigan
wonderful
Camera.
Thing. Oh, Peter, I want you to just see it, just because remind me that I've seen the flyer for the festival, and it's like a nightmare of word art. But their logo is wonderful. Just go on at some point in the next couple of days. Go on the Wigan Camera website.
I'm going to have a look right now on my phone.
Oh, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Wigan Camera branch.
That camera is an absolute fucking nightmare. It really, really is. But yeah, well, I mean, if you're interested, get involved with the. I mean, get involved with the local festival. Just volunteer. I mean, if you want to go a bit more kind of like high end, and it's really worth your while if you are interested. If you did Copenhagen, I mean, volunteering there is
that'd be
a sweet deal.
Awesome.
And a bunch of my friends volunteered last year. I mean, Jake did a Beaver Town as well. Get your name down for that. I mean, Copenhagen, I think you work 2 sessions, free, and then you get invited to like the party the next day at so I presume it'll be there again. Very good deal. I mean, for what you've got to do.
Oh yeah.
You could be working for like 25 minutes, and then
well, there we go.
you're onto a real winner. I mean, all you've got to do with that is pay for accommodation, pay for your flight, and then you're essentially getting about £250 worth of free beer.
That sounds good to me. I mean, I do legitimately want to get involved with this sort of stuff. I mean, I was gutted that I couldn't get involved with the Indie Man this year because I thought that would have been a good opportunity.
Salford Beer Festival, I mean, from all accounts, is really good.
Yeah.
It's an independent thing. I mean, I've never been, but I know friends who go.
I had a lot of good feedback from last year.
Yeah. Absolutely, here's like good. Yeah, did you go on the Wigan Camera website then?
I had a look, and it said it all. And the logo was the pie holding a beer. Yeah, it's simple. It's simple.
Cap on and
yeah, it does the job.
Yes. But on that note of pies and caps, I'm going to bid you farewell. Until next time.
See you later, Rob.
Get it on. You too.
Bye, Rob. Yeah, that's about it. Well, yeah.
Are you having a cigarette break?
Yeah, a bit.
I shall quickly see if we've had any extra comments.
Well, not too much. We've on our own, pretty much.
Yeah, we've had a couple of comments from Cheshire Homebrew, who says, "Hi fellas, if anyone reads this, what beer would you choose if you could only ever drink one beer?"
If I could only ever drink one beer, that is really a good question.
I know my answer straight away.
Yes, what would be your answer?
It's a tie between two beers. First one is Brewdog's Elvis Juice.
Really?
I love this beer, and this is for a supermarket, this is actually quite a fresh can of Elvis Juice, and it's absolutely wonderful. It's my favourite grapefruit IPA.
It's really good.
Yeah, I just love Elvis Juice. And my second one would be Augustina Lager Beer Hell. I love the simplicity, the drinkability, the craftsmanship in the original version. I mean, I've had the export lager that they do, which is a little bit more lemony, but I didn't enjoy it as much as the regular version. But those are it's a tie between those two beers.
Oh, what would it be? Yeah. It would be from Birol for me. Okay. I haven't got the beer here, but it would be the Palawan.
Padawan. I tried that at the craft beer festival. That's the sort of New England style pale ale.
No, it's not. It's really just they call it a slightly hopped pale ale, but it is really more of an IPA. It's pretty extreme on the fruity hops. It's also very, very a lot of exotic fruits, but really just through the hops. Or a New England IPA would probably be feasible too. They did a special brew. It was a 9.9 ABV New England IPA. They did it only once. I forgot how it was called. El Presidente, I think. I think it was called El Presidente.
Now, I think I did try that beer at the festival.
Wow.
It was either that or my dad. Yeah, my lager drinking father. I think he had that while I was talking to the guys at Pirate Brew Berlin. And he just came back and it's like, oh, I got another beer. And I was like, what's that? And it's like, no, it's El Presidente from Beer Room.
Almost no bitterness.
Whoa, just like fruit juice. Oof.
Yeah, totally. And the thing is, this was the first New England IPA I've ever tried. And I didn't know much about New England IPAs. I didn't know how much ABV it had, and I was at I think it was the release party of the beer in Graz. It was at my favorite craft beer shop, and they had just released it, and they had it from the cask.
Ooh.
And well, I had 2 or 3 half pints of it, and I had it. I was thirsty. It was shortly after work, and I went there. I talked to a few people, and it was, the people were waiting for me. It was one of these occasions where there were a lot of people who knew me. Knew me from my videos, knew me just from being a craft beer guy who is at every craft festival. And they just this handshake thing, and they just came up to me, and I had a few of those beers, and I absolutely didn't realize it, but within an hour, I was so fucked up. Yes, I was completely drunk from this beer, but it was so amazing. It was really like fruit juice. There was no trace of this gag reflex. You get at least a little bit from every alcoholic beverage. Yeah, It's just a bit of you can't just down a whole pint because there is this little bit of a gag reflex. But this beer didn't have any of that, nothing. You just drank it like water. And it was like fruit juice, even worse. It was better, more drinkable than water. It killed me that day, and it killed me a few weeks after that at a festival where I knew it, where I knew it had 9.9 ABV, but I still drank it because they just kept setting down pints of it in front of me and said, "Oh, let's drink and have fun," and they just brought me another, and they killed me twice in a month with it, really. And that's I think if I could choose one beer, and it would be this, because it's efficient.
Efficient, yeah. I think I've tried that one. It was definitely more of one of the hoppier pale IPA sort of beer. But is it the? I can't remember if it's called the Mountain Pale.
Mountain Pale Ale, yeah. It's the standard pale ale, yeah.
Yeah. See, that to me was like a slightly toned down double IPA, from what I remember, because of the ABV, and that was fantastic.
Absolutely, it's they have so wicked beers. In the chat, someone is agreeing with you that the Elvis juice is just amazing.
Yeah, I just love this beer so much. It's probably my favorite sub-style of IPA when they put actual grapefruit in the beer, because you get those grapefruit flavors from the hops. So why not just accentuate it more with actual grapefruit? And it's just like a match made in heaven for me.
There is the point. I need to change my choice. There is one beer I love, but it's not a commercially available beer. It's there is in the university in Graz, where there are two guys who run beer brewing thing. The scientists, and they make this whole thing very scientific, and they advise breweries, and you can go there and make tastings and book tastings, and they just or brew beer with them, and they're really great guys, and they know a lot about beer brewing, down to the microbiology level. And these guys recently brewed some beers, and they gave them to me to review. Last two videos I've got on my channel are about their beers. The 4 beers I tasted from them. Really crazy stuff. Absolutely out of the way, crazy shit. And one of these beers was an IPA flavored with Earl Grey tea.
Oh,
intensely flavored with Earl Grey.
Yeah, intensely.
This was honestly one of my absolute favorite beers I've ever tried. Just an IPA. It wasn't a basic IPA. It was an East Coast IPA, a bit of a red ale style thing, with a broad malt base to it. So it had a medium body, and there was the Earl Grey flavor was just so absolutely smoothly merging with the fruitiness and the pine things, and all the great flavors hops can bring to an IPA. And it just really good. So perfectly. It's probably the best beer I've ever had, honestly. Yeah, I'd only drink the Earl Grey IPA, I think.
Earl Grey IPA. The only time I've had I think it was an IPA with Earl Grey, and you didn't really get the Earl Grey element. It was just like a slight flavor. But the idea of like a dominant Earl Grey infused IPA sounds really good to me.
Oh, it was. It was really dominant. It was really present, and I love Earl Grey. I just love it. We're awesome.
Yep. I mean, I know that you're obviously talking about an Austrian brewer there, but it's just made me think that I'm amazed at, in Germany, the beers that are being brewed even though they've got the Reinheitsgebot. And it's amazing how much creativity there is, even though there are these sort of, well, they're not really rules because you can go against them to a certain extent. It's
but you can't use fruit, for example.
Yeah.
But
it just amazes me, some of the beers that are coming out of places like Germany, when there are these somewhat strict regulations. I don't know. I had some of the most fascinating beers from both Germany and Austria when I was in Germany. Brew Age. I had I can't remember what the porter's called. That was pretty good, from what I remember.
Someone in the chat asks for a link to join. You might want to have a look.
Okay. Well, Lance, I will send you the link through Facebook, because it'd be interesting to get an American viewpoint.
Yeah, totally. We were just talking Europe today.
Yep. I think, I mean, I'm not too familiar with the Austrian brewing scene, aside from like Bivog, Birol, and Brew Age, and other breweries. But the German brewing scene is...
I love the German brewing scene. And what you say, the strict regulations, they produce enormous things. But the funny thing about the Austrian brewing scene, and because I really think it is important, and not so, not just like Austria or like Germany or something. It's absolutely not, because it's so in the middle of Eastern and Western Europe. You get a lot of this. You get the Czech Pilsner style. You get the Slovenian beers. You get the Italian beer styles. And on the other hand, you got the German influence with Reinheitsgebot, with wheat beers, with Hefeweizen. And we do have a very interesting mixture. And we do have a big beer culture. That's, well, yeah. At least I think so. It's a bit of patriotic view. But yeah.
Yep. I will say that the Austrian beers that I have had from the craft brewing side of things have just been fantastic. I can't fault them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, being in Germany, you start to appreciate the local sort of scenes of like what's going on in the Czech Republic and places like Sweden.
Yeah, boss.
And then of course Austria.
Sweden beers. I wish we had James today. What the hell is wrong with James? He hasn't been online.
Yeah, a Swedish correspondent, or Scottish Swedish correspondent.
Yes.
But yeah, Lance, I've sent you the link on Facebook if you're interested to join.
By the way, you have met James this summer, and you had some beers around wherever you've been, haven't you? Hey!
Yeah, we shared a couple of beers in Regensburg when he visited. That was an interesting visit. I was hoping to meet him in Munich, but just everything was working against me. Hey, Lance.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Lance. How are you doing?
What are you drinking tonight, sir?
I'm slacking tonight. I'm having Milwaukee's best. It's cold out there. I don't want to go anywhere and go buy anything today.
That's completely fair enough. See, the neo-masochist inside me really wants to try that beer. See, that's the thing with American beers. Even like the most like lowbrow macro beers available, I want to try them just out of interest.
Not great, they're cheap, but if you want to try it at least once, at least have it for the experience.
Exactly. It's like these Clamato beers.
Oh, the Clamatos? Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about a lager brewed with clam juice and tomato juice that just sounds very intriguing.
Honestly, the only one I've ever had, even though I think it's overcarbonated, it really tasted like a carbonated V8, a watered down version of it. At least that to me.
Okay.
That gives you an idea.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we don't really get V8 in the UK. Do you get V8 tomato juice in Austria, Wolfgang?
No, not closely. That's the thing. We're so far behind in the American style craft brewing scene. Really, so far behind. So far, we're actually so far behind that we decided to go even further back and just revive traditional European styles. It's rather odd thing. So no, absolutely not. Sadly. Where exactly in the US are you from? I don't like. There is someone from the US. Where exactly are you from?
I am in Akron, Ohio, actually, in the Midwestern section of the United States.
Yeah, because I don't like, there in Europe people always say someone from the US, but the Ohio alone is the size of France. Yeah, it's stupid to say someone from the US. It's just really, really stupid.
But the best way to describe it, get to New York and drive 600 miles west, you'll get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Take a day or two. You can go to another part of America.
That's the point, yeah. That's the thing. People don't understand here. America is diverse, really diverse.
Oh, it's very diverse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But Europeans don't see it that way. And that's why that's something I think people should remind. And today, for me, the rebirth of beer, the craft movement is coming from there. And you need to know where from there what comes. Yeah, that's important. And it's just, important to know.
Actually, I have a theory on that. I was going to do a Lush Talks on that tomorrow. But since you brought it up, I'm going to talk about it now. Yeah, I actually have a theory on this. At least as far as and I hate to derail this whole conversation, but it's
No, feel free.
No rail.
I think, and I started thinking about this more and more after the last Lush Talks I had. I see in the next 4 to 5 years a monumental collapse of the craft brew scene in this country.
Really? That's quite interesting. How?
Not because there's too many.
I'd sign that. No, because the big ones are buying the individuality.
Not only that, but it's like I've noticed there's right now I'm seeing a lot. There's no quality control whatsoever from these smaller brewers. And maybe because
that is always an issue I've found. I
mean, maybe because of us, we review beer, but we see it firsthand. But Joe and Jane beer drinker, they don't know that. And all of a sudden it's going to hit them. They're going to turn them off altogether. Now, I will say this. I honestly think the next big spots in craft beer is going to be Europe and China. I'm a firm believer in that.
I can definitely see Europe in there. Especially the Bavarian regions, especially.
The Bavarian regions, because they've been out of the game for basically, 500 years? I mean, they know what they're doing. Yeah, and but they don't have to advertise.
We do have another problem. We talked about this today several times. Sadly, the really good talk was offline, to be honest. We talked about that craft beer in Germany and in Austria, in the Bavarian region especially, where beer is very, very home, and also in Belgium and so on, doesn't have a chance to branch out into fine dining, into markets that will accept it, that will take up the value, that will value it as much as wine, for example, because one craft beer in total has the image of being a drink for the lower. I don't like classes. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it has too much tradition. The traditional thing. They are brewing beer here since before the Egyptians, and it has always been not for the high class, for the fine dining, it has always been a drink of the people, and there it has its tradition. And it's, on the one thing, it's chained to that. On the other thing, I don't think it can branch out there, and it doesn't have the power. I think your idea of finding craft beer more in the Asian region is probably even more realistic and more interesting, because there are no stigmas to beer there.
Well, not only that, that's why I brought, like, in Europe, for instance, Asia is pretty much the same thing, but more spread out.
Yeah.
There's so many regional styles. I use the food analogy. There's so many regional styles of beer just in that area. You apply it to beer is the exact same thing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like everybody, a lot of people have their own styles, how they want to do it, how they ferment, how they produce it. There's a lot of moving parts in that. That's why I see Asia, specifically China, not Southeast Asia, but China and Europe, not necessarily Bavaria, not necessarily Western Europe. I'm not totally sure where. Honestly, I think the Arctic regions might be first in that. Then it'll spread south.
I don't know.
They'll work backwards a little bit.
The thing is this: the regions I know, I don't see the regions of Europe. I know, I don't see craft beer ever having the same impact. The beer scene has certainly been evolving all through the years, and it has been becoming more important, but it has never lost its roots. It has always been the same. It has not substantially changed as it did in the US. There, it did change. It did absolutely, rudimentarily change. And if you're saying craft beer has no future in the US, I don't see
what? I never said no future. I just see a major collapse.
Okay.
Which is a big difference. There's so many breweries open up so quick, and there's like I said, no quality control. It's going to collapse on itself.
So it's like a case of companies just trying to get their product out there as soon as possible, like to latch onto trends and to. Yeah, I don't know. I can see your point, but I don't know. At the same time,
I see the thing with the collapse of the low-quality craft beer. That's something that will happen here too. When I remember the Vienna Craft Beer Festival last year, the people who really know the way around beer, they all said unanimously that the quality has dropped from the year before because there were a lot new breweries, a lot of small beer breweries. Sorry, my English today is really, really shitty.
No, you've been doing a fantastic job.
You have some of the people here in town. You're doing very well. You talk very well.
No, sorry. I don't know why. I have troubles today. I'm usually better. Who cares? As long as you can understand me, it's okay. Well, what I wanted to say is I've heard a lot of people say that the standard of craft brewing and the Vienna Craft Festival represents Austria and the Eastern European countries strongly. Not while the Craft Festival in Munich represents Germany and Belgium. So we do the Eastern site, and they said and I have the same impression because I have been there also. They said the quality has dropped. The simple quality, the beers are worse. There are brewing mistakes. There are a lot of small breweries that make extreme, strange black IPA with, I don't know, shit like this and that and this and that, but it's just not a good beer. Yeah?
Well, a lot of that, like the smaller ones, doing stuff like that, and we have the same problem here in the States. They do it for shock value because they're looking at to where bad press is better than no press.
Exactly.
That's all it is, and I'll be the first person to admit that pisses me off because I'll take quality all day long. All day
this
long.
is, I think, the theme of the evening. We are talking all the time. We are talking about quality first, and then comes creativity.
Yeah. Establish yourself as a brewer who knows what they're doing before you start to play around with traditional recipes.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because like if I go to like one of my local brew clubs here in town, for instance, like I can walk up to any random brewmaster, and they can, and the beer is really good. I mean, it's really rounded out, but the beer is able to tell me a story, and he can explain that story. Now I'm seeing, and maybe this is an American's perspective, and from you guys in Europe, you can tell me. I mean, I'm not getting that now. They're just like pushing out.
Popcorn candy, pale ale with sour cucumber, XYZ.
That sounds like a very bad mixed drink.
Yeah, but that's what we are getting, you know. And we were talking about before. I'm coming back to Tillmanns. It's a guy from Munich. He brews the ultimate Helles. Bayerisch Helles is a style that's...
It's a wonderful Helles beer.
It's a simple, clear style of beer. But if you do it right, it's one of the best styles in the world.
Exactly.
Fresh. It has this, this biscuity flavor, but just the right amount. And malty, bit hoppy, a bit bitterness, fresh, perfectly drink it. A wonderful beer. But it has to be made by a fucking professional. And if you can put out a Bayerisch Helles to the point, then you can start adding aroma hops. Then you can start adding smoked malts. And then you can think about this, that, there, up, down. Yeah? But
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Tillmanns, get a Tillmanns. But I really love to have a Tillmanns right now.
Basically what you're saying is, for the listeners who might be watching this later, you're saying like what you have is dial in what you have now, make sure it's on point, then start experimenting.
Exactly. I'm saying creativity isn't creativity before you can say what you want, before you get something.
You know what? As somebody like me, who's an aspiring home brewer, I actually have the same philosophy. Because, perfect example, I'm doing this American cream ale tomorrow, right? Not cream ale, American lager tomorrow. What's it, American lager? No, it's a American light ale. I'm sorry, I had to look at it again. And it's one of those ones where I'm following the instructions by the book, but I'm using that as a control batch. So I'm gonna start doing like 2.5 gallon batches after that, to where like I can pick and choose what I'm gonna add, not add, see if it works or don't works. So exact same thing. And that's how you're supposed to do it. It's not a get rich quick, so to speak, but it's one of those ones to where, you know, once you got it dialed in, like I said, start experimenting, try this or that, have people taste it, get feedback, you know, things like that. Yeah. It's a long game.
I'm not experimenting. Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, you're right. It's just knowing what you're doing, experimenting, getting solid with what you're doing, and tuning your product, not just making a random act of I don't know what. Yeah. And then selling something that discredits the whole craft beer scene. That's what I'm saying. For example, I've been talking about these guys in Graz who do this university-based brewing scientific thing. Yeah, Braucampus Graz. They're taking brewing to a microbiology thing and blah blah blah. Who cares? They are often doing 100% beers, meaning they're using, for example, just one single hop or just one single malt, and just brew, or one yeast, very controlled, just to know what exactly the properties of this yeast, this malt, this whatever product are, and they're working it out, and and so they can tell what happens when you change this, that, their parameter, because everything else is controlled. I like that approach. I like it. And you're all just gone from my screen now. Why?
I'm here. I'm still here.
Yeah, you're here. Yeah, no.
I don't know where Matt went, but hey, we're here.
No, that's a bit of a technical hiccup there.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the university stuff, I think that's actually really quite a valuable prospect.
Totally.
But it's not just, oh, we will teach you how to brew beer, but the fact that they're taking it to that next level and providing, because I'm guessing they'd have students involved in.
I think they're just like here in the States, they have
or is that sort of like their own project?
They write papers about it.
Ah, okay. So
yes, they're giving them knowledge on to breweries.
That's their practical work, as opposed. I see.
They're really doing
that's very intriguing.
Yeah,
it
is
at universities.
Totally, it's like Weinstefan. That's basically a brewing university. They're doing the same thing. Just they're just more renowned.
Yeah,
Graz Brew Campus.
I have the history and the.
It's actually the oldest brewery probably in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Weinstefan. Ah, by the way, Weinstefan from the cask, best Hefeweizen on the world.
Oh, I can imagine.
Is it?
Not the biggest Hefeweizen fan, but that.
I know,
fantastic.
but we know.
I absolutely adore the Corbinus or Corbinus. It's the Doppelbock, I think it is, that they do.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, or was it Vitus? Vitus?
There's some German Doppelbock.
They're basically the Weinstefan Doppelbock is just fantastic. Or the Weizenbock, I should say.
Weinstefaner Hefeweizen with fresh baked Laugenbrezen.
Oh,
yeah, that's heaven.
That sounds absolutely wunderbar.
That is wunderbar.
And I have no clue what you just said in the second part of that. It sounded like if there was a food pairing in that. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah,
well, you're on the right level there, Lance. Oh, but yeah, Brezen, Bier, Emmentaler or Macedon.
Oberster.
Ja, wunderbar.
Wunderbar.
Ganz wunderbar. And I think we've just alienated Lance. So, have you got any home brewing projects, Lance?
Yeah, originally, okay, here's what happened. I was looking at my fast fermenter in tomorrow, right? Well, I checked yesterday on the shipping status, it said it was en route here to town. Well, apparently it wasn't updated. They tried to deliver it yesterday. I get this. Where is it? I get this nasty gram. United States Postal Service. Yesterday, I didn't check my mail this afternoon. Excuse me. Saying they tried to deliver it yesterday afternoon, where I was already at work. If I would have known that, I would have stayed home. So now, I can't do it until Monday, because tomorrow is a public holiday. So I'm stuck till Monday morning. So I can't brew till next week. So I'm not very happy.
I see.
So what beer are you brewing, Lance?
I will show you, actually.
Excuse me.
This is my control batch. I know it's a kit, but this is the control batch. This is I don't know if you can see it. This is an American Light Ale.
Ah, okay.
It's basically a Miller Lite clone. This was actually a request beer.
Oh, I
so
see.
One of those ones to where, I don't want to make it, but a lot of people ask me to make it, so I'm going to make it anyway.
Well, yeah, if someone demands it, supply and demand.
And then after that, when I told them up front, after I make that one, I'm going to experiment what I want to do. I'm not totally sure which one I'm going with it yet. So keep that in mind. I'm going somewhere with it after the control batch. Honestly, I'm trying to. I mean, the alcohol content is probably like 4 or 5%, which is fine. But I'm thinking, do I want to add pineapple? Do I go to the standard orange or grapefruit? Do I add something else? I haven't decided yet.
Well,
but
I would personally go for grapefruit, because grapefruit beers are fantastic.
Yeah,
but they're so overplayed, though. They really are.
Lance, don't make me regret adding you to this conversation. I'm joking.
Oh, sorry.
No. It's all good. I can totally understand that viewpoint.
Yeah, but here in the States, there's so many of them.
Oh God, yeah.
I try to avoid them at all costs if I can.
So, see, that's the thing. I would absolutely love to experience as many grapefruit-infused beers in general, because I think grapefruit is such a beer flavor, if that makes sense. It works so well within the context of brewing.
I see what you're saying,
but as an American, I could totally understand that, because everyone's brewing like a session grapefruit pale ale, or a session grapefruit lager, or a grapefruit infused IPA, that sort of thing. But from my very limited experience, I think adding actual grapefruit to a beer in general, especially a more hoppy beer, it just works so fantastically.
But there is another thing that's much less common that works exactly as good, and I'd suggest mint.
Ooh,
now, there are some mint beers here. Now, they're not available here in my area, but they are out there. I've had a couple.
Yeah. But I think, well, instead of, when you're not going for citrus, go for mint. Just say.
I do enjoy. What did I? I think we talked about this before, but it was the Pirate Brew Berlin. And do you know Freigeist Vehicle Tour?
Yeah, I do.
Sebastian and Yankee und Kraut.
Yankee and Kraut only from name.
Because they did a collaboration beer. And they did a cocktail inspired beer where they used mint, eucalyptus, and a few other ingredients. and the use of mint in that beer was just absolutely phenomenal. The beer was called Room 101.
I'm just having a session IPA with mint. It's phenomenal. It's just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Okay,
See,
like
that's the thing with mint. I preferred like the herb mint as opposed to like the after rate sort of mint character, if that makes sense. Like that
that makes
natural mint character as opposed to like the
not the oils,
like,
not the sharp, not
like
the
synthetic
spiciness,
sort of
just
mint.
more.
yeah. It's funny you bring that.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring it up because Average Joe in the chat actually brought that up. He says
Okay.
most mint beers in the U.S. are breweries trying to clone a thin mint cookie in beer form, which is the Girl Scout cookies, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to go for that strong mint
Those, like,
taste with the chocolate hints.
Like biscuity sort of
Correct.
beers.
Now, what you're talking about is like what I want to try, because that's the ones I've had. I want that true like eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus, yeah, they use
beer.
eucalyptus in that beer.
But I want a very mellow mint in it. You guys tell me, how is it? You know, that's what I'm thinking of a mint. A true beer.
I think it works if you can balance those flavors out. I think that is it can be such a vital and satisfying flavor profile as long as you have other flavors to not only balance but counteract certain aspects of that flavor. If that makes sense.
It does.
See, that's the beautiful thing about brewing. There's no right or wrong way, fundamentally, because it's about, as long as, well, I say that, as long as you have like the fundamental aspects of a beer, you can branch out as much as you want. You can be as traditional as you want to, but there's so much that you can play around with, even in such a tiny manner. You know, swapping Pilsner malts for caramalts, you know, and that
you should never swap out Pilsner malts for anything. Pilsner malts are great.
Pilsner malts are fantastic.
Yeah,
I won't deny that. I kind of retract that statement, but not really. But you know, that's the thing about brewing. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You move on. You try something else. And I mean, I love traditional beers, whether it be traditional British ales like milds, bitters, very malty pale ales. But at the same time, I think there is room to play around with it. I mean, I think Wolfgang will appreciate this, but it's like with cooking. You know, you can, as long as you find the right balance, you can be very creative with even the most simplest of dishes. And I think if you can cook well, you can brew well.
Absolutely. You're absolutely
That's
right.
exactly what it is.
And you could end Earl Grey. Make an Earl Grey.
Yeah, we need more Earl Grey beers.
Yeah, we do.
Come on, people.
Make more Earl Grey IPAs. They're the bomb. Guys, I'm really, really tired. I think I'll have to leave you for today. It was a great pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, fantastic to talk to you, Wolfgang.
Absolutely. I hope
if anybody watching this hasn't done so already, check out Cats and Fet down below.
I'd love to. Please come around. Yeah, guys, cheers. I hope you have a great night, have a great conversation. Make a great beer. Come up with something awesome. I'd love to read.
I'll try.
Good night.
When
Thanks
I
for
eventually get
having
to
me.
brewing. Yep, no problem, Wolfgang. Always great to talk to you, my friend.
Bye.
See you later.
Oh, look, this is me and you now.
Yes, indeed. So if anybody wants to to join this conversation, feel free to get in touch.
Well, I have one person wants to join the chat. I don't want to send the link out without permission.
You can send the link out, no problem.
Okay. All right, hold on a second.
Send that link out.
All right, I gotta get to the right. I so need dual monitors. I hate this.
Yeah, I'm stuck on this really crappy, quasi broken down MacBook at the moment. So I'm just thankful I've got a headset, because the fan on this MacBook is just insanely loud. And I'm actually just waiting for it to just die or not turn on at all.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. I mean, I have had it for about 6 years.
Oh, okay.
So I wouldn't be too upset if it dies. Well, I would, because I wouldn't have a laptop, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Right, Lance, I'm going to quickly go off to the little boys' room and then get another beer. So feel free to invite anybody that you think would be interested in this.
All right, that'll work. I'm working on that right now. It's like my computer's like being like totally potty right now. I don't know why.
Yep, I know that feeling.
Why? Copy link address. Why is it doing that? All right, folks. My computer's being totally naughty today. All right, there we go. Got the one person that wants to come in at the moment, and let's see if that works. And I think I just did it to myself. Well, Lush fans, I'm holding down the fort right now. Over here in the States, I just sent one person over, and we have a Raunchier. And right now it's just me and you, because Matt stepped off for a minute.
What am I, a mirage? What? What? Where's my fucking drink? I asked you for a drink. You wanted a drink. I just asked you for a fucking drink.
Hello.
Hello, was there Joe Pesci going on there in the background? At least that's what it sounded like. Yeah, that's what it was. What is going on?
Hey, what is those? What are those?
These here? These are the Talons I was telling you about a month ago. These are just the vanilla form.
Oh, vanilla.
Mm-hmm. $2.42 at your local Circle K. A lot cheaper than spending $6 for cigarettes, let me tell you.
They're $1.49 in my town.
Oh no! Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have.
Oh, you had the menthol version. You know, I didn't like though. They're just too strong, too rough for me.
And I have this one.
Is that the sweet or the unsweet?
This is the sweet original.
Sweet original, okay. Yeah, I'll pick those up right now.
Those are nice.
Okay.
I've never seen the vanilla. Hey, thanks for sending me the link.
No problem. I kind of like I don't know if you saw my chat, but I had all types of technical difficulties again. And I wish I could jump from Google, and I can't right now.
I'm gonna Yeah, I went to take a bath, you know, wash my hair and all, and then I said I'll be joining because Tyler Mansell said he was joining your Hangout. And then I said, let me join for a little while. I'm not gonna join for long. I wanted to watch football, you know, and then it was dead. It was like a dead Hangout. So I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I was getting this. So for all you guys that joined over from my chat, let you know I got really, really, really mad about what they were doing. So I was sending the link multiple ways, and it's like, you know what? I'm done. And because if I just start it, it won't let me send it out. But if I schedule it, there's no problems, which makes no sense.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me get off of this other thing here, and then I'm going to talk to you about that. Okay. So that statement again, and I think I can try to help a little bit.
There was one of those ones to where like it's one. Excuse me. Let's say I just start, for instance, to start a live chat right on Google Hangout. I have an extremely difficult time getting people to join. But if I schedule it, there's no problems.
Okay. All right. Let's look at this. Now, we know they had problems since they rebooted in April. Right?
Correct.
Now, my audio might be bad. I don't know how my audio sounds right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Because I'm on Google. Well, you know, Google tends to deteriorate after about 20 minutes for me.
Correct.
I know, but I did a Hangout yesterday morning on Opera. No problems for 30 minutes. Okay. Well, anyway, I never have problems with Internet Explorer, but it kicks me off sometimes. You've noticed that. Oh, and by the way, I'm drinking a Guinness. I'll say it right. I was trying to say Guinness. A Guinness Antwerpen Stout. You know, it's really the foreign, not the foreign. It's the special export since 1944. Okay. 8%. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to explain how to do this, and it'll work for you. Okay.
All right.
I had to fiddle around with it. You can schedule a Hangout, fine, it'll work, maybe. Or you can just do a pop-up Hangout. What do they call it? Go live now?
Correct.
Okay. Now, we run into a problem the last month where we try to type in people's names, nothing comes up, right?
Correct.
But, so I was working on this the other day. I said, I'm gonna tackle this. I'm gonna find out what's going on. So I go in there and I try to invite people. Okay, they won't come up. Their names won't come up. I said, okay. But then there's a little Google icon. You can click that. And then there's another icon for something else. I can't remember what it is. It could even be Twitter or something. I don't know. But but the Google Plus, you know, that red thing with the G, G plus sign, G plus, the red thing. I clicked it. Okay. It brings up a screen and it says, what do you want to do? Well, it'll give you all kind of options, but they won't work. Okay. You say, well, why are you telling me this? Well, I'm going to tell you how to do it. When you go to that area, though, there's a little globe, little planet. If you click on that globe, it'll say other options, something like that, other options. Okay, I clicked it. Now it'll bring up another screen that'll say, invite all your friends and connections. Well, you may not want to do that. It could be hundreds of people. Friends are just your acquaintances or just people you follow. Or if you keep scrolling below that, it lists everybody you're connected to on Google Plus.
Really?
Yeah, and then you can just put a check mark in the box. They've got little boxes next to the names. You put a check mark in the box by all the people you want to invite, and then it says done, and then send or save, something like that. And then immediately they get the invite. I mean, it's a pain in the butt, but it works. 2 nights ago, and everybody got the invite. It's like the way they did events page. They hid the events page inside your profile. You have to go to where it says profile and hit these three little dots, and it'll give you your events or your impact, like as if you need to see your impact on people. But it'll work. And you can do a little test run one day, and I'll help you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to walk through that. Yes, it's a long way around.
It seems long, but it is not. But it's not long. Yeah. Now see that echo? That'll come up and then disappear. It'll inexplicably show up, as I've noticed across many Hangouts, and then it inexplicably disappears. People will say to me, "Oh, it's your equipment." No, it isn't. Not when I'm seeing it everywhere. And it's funny because we didn't have these problems, and then April arrives, and all of a sudden everybody's got problems. Come on.
Well, it's like with me, it's like I didn't have the problems like a month and a half ago. That's when the problem started. Of course, I didn't update Google Chrome for the longest time either. That could be. I don't know.
It didn't matter if you updated it or not. It just kept a look.
Okay.
Yeah, you can send a link through Facebook, but Lance wants to know how to do a direct invite.
No, it's not me. It's like I already did it. No, I already sent. One person asked about the link. I sent it to him. So it's let's see here. Like get your link. That's Lee Russell. Send it to people on Facebook through email. Problem solved. Okay. And Kent says Google Chrome rules.
Yeah, it rules. Then Lee says, "You're an idiot, Jay. Straight up. Go to live events through your YouTube dashboard. Problem solved." That's a direct invite, you idiot. I think we all understand that. But you don't seem to understand what we're talking about. That doesn't make us an idiot, or me an idiot, because you don't understand what we're talking about. Don't be typical.
Now, come on, guys. This is a family show. Let's not go there. That's for everybody here in the room. Where did he go? He said he was gonna go potty. He's not back yet.
Maybe he went to potty down the road.
I don't know. I wait for him to come back, and it's like, I want to go potty. Jeez.
You could go potty. I'll do a tap takeover.
A tap table? Tap takeover? What are you drinking right now?
Remember I told you I was drinking the Guinness?
Yeah. Oh, you're still working on that. Gotcha. Okay. All right. I'm going to step away for a minute. I'll be right back.
Yet you're faced with problems only your group of knobs seems plagued with every week. Our group has no problems. But our group is not exemplary.
I seem to have come back at the right moment.
How that goes. You know how it goes.
Yep. I only went for another beer, but I ended up watching a few minutes of there's a magical mystery tour documentary on downstairs that my mother's boyfriend's watching, and
that movie.
That's a fascinating story. I mean, a lot of people just write it off as the Beatles being strange and on drugs, but quite a thing.
yeah, the problem with that was their manager died, right? So
yeah,
they didn't, you know, he would always handle everything, so they didn't really have to do anything but be Beatles and do music and everything. So then he dies, and now they don't know what they're going to do because they don't have the direction they needed. So they got this idea: let's make a movie, but with no experience in how to make a movie. Now, some people said, no, you need to hire Richard Lester, who had done Hard Day's Night, and but they just got this idea. No, we can do it. We can make a movie. But it was a fiasco, you know. It was sort of like Help, but worse, because it had no. It was just a series of music videos and then riding around in the country, and then the only good part about it was John Lennon with that big spaghetti, you know, and he kept.
Oh yeah, that's a very surreal film. I remember, I think I got into the Beatles when I was about 12 to 14 years old when I was in high school, and I was so used to like the, you know, Please Please Me, Help, you know, these like really uplifting poppy songs. And I remember I was bought the VHS of Magical Mystery Tour. And I remember like watching, oh, it's going to be the Beatles, but you watch it and it's like, what the hell is going on in this video?
I don't know. It's just, and then they showed it on television in England.
Yeah,
and it was in black and white because it's a psychedelic film with all these colors. But then they showed it in black and white on Boxing Day. That's when it debuted, Boxing Day. And it was ripped apart by the fans and the critics. The next day, there was hell to pay. They said, what is this garbage? You know, what's wrong with this band? This band is finished, you know, all of that. So, well, that to a large extent, I think, had a good deal to do with leading to the Beatles breakup, because then, you know, it's sort of a chain reaction from that.
yeah. Although I will say that probably my favorite period of the Beatles was probably from Rubber Soul to around, well, Abbey Road, I'd say. So like that mid to towards the falling apart of the Beatles, if that makes sense. And I'd hate to be an advocate for the consumption of Class A drugs, but I think some of the Beatles' most creative music came within that sort of experimental period.
I'll be right back.
I think he just got dropped.
I think so.
And his connection has always not necessarily been shaky, but it's like sometimes it'll just drop out of nowhere. Mine does it from now and then too. Like I walked in on the Beatles, I have no clue what's going on.
Yep, that was an odd part to come back in. But I see we've had quite an entertaining back and forth in the comments.
Oh yes, it's like I'm watching the comments. I'm commenting on the comments. I'm just actually enjoying reading it. And sometimes you just got to read it and, like, you know what? Sometimes it's not to be said publicly.
Yeah.
Well, the Clueless Drinker is a no holds barred event. So if anybody's got anything to say, within reason, they can say it.
Yeah. Hey, so they were using drugs back into the early 60s.
I'd imagine they were consuming drugs when they were in Hamburg.
Preludin.
Yeah.
Prellies. Then it just kept growing. But eventually they reached the wall, you know, with drug drug abuse, and then it started to deteriorate the whole process. But it was a lot of factors, you know. It's not a one factor move.
Oh yeah.
You can simple things like, you know what? You can say, you know what? We're done. He's like, let's do one more album. We're gonna split up, go our separate ways. It'd be something as simple as that.
Who?
But like, as far as the drugs, like I'm not from that era, so you got to fill me in.
I was 2. I wasn't even 2 years old. Yeah, I was like 2 years old when they broke up, so I wasn't exactly monitoring the situation. They just had a lot of, it's complex. You could do a whole hangout on the Beatles breakup, their experience. I was watching some Beatles videos today.
Which ones?
Some found clips from 1964, a bunch of lost clips that somebody compiled. They were interesting. And then a live performance of Things We Said Today, which was very good. I believe that was it. Yeah. And then there may have been one more, because I was trying to post every Beatles song ever made on Rock and Roll Club. I wanted to do 2 songs every Friday until I did every song that I can bear to post.
Why? What are some of your least favorite Beatles songs?
Well, there's some later on that I'm just not going to waste time posting, but most of them I will post, you know. I guess maybe I won't post Revolution number 9. It's not even really a song.
I was just thinking about Revolution number 9, to be honest.
That's an example of their breakup, because he was hanging out with this from Lance's side, don't you think?
There's echo from my side.
Coming in from your side, I get that feeling.
Not really. They don't too much echo.
I could just be me. It doesn't matter. That's a perfect example, because they started off 1968. Everything was kind of chummy. They got past the fiasco of Magical Mystery Tour. All right. Okay, that was a mistake. Okay, forget it. Everybody can screw up once, even we screwed up. Okay. But they made this bad decision. We'll run our own record company. Uh-oh. Our own record business, our own Beatles business. But yet we have no knowledge nor experience, aside from being part of a business.
Well, you look from that standpoint, like, it actually made sense, but it was they were so far ahead of the curve, it would just collapse on its own naturally. They were so, because a lot of musicians do that now. Back then, it was unheard of.
Yeah.
Didn't work out too well because, but that's another part of it. Apple Corps. Okay, they started that, which within a year, the Beatles were now losing money, because they had so many of these hanger-on people that they just wanted to steal money from them, you know, and like pilfer all their assets. But anyway, so they said, okay, let's make this new album. They started working on it. You know, they did Dog and all those songs, and they were pretty happy together and whatnot. Then they decided, let's make a trip to India to go meet this great guru. Turned out to be a Svengali, really. So they went out there like all these rich hippies, you know, with all the big 1968 cool people. And that didn't turn out too well, because they found out the guy was just a scam artist. So they all kind of packed up together and left after 6 weeks all together. But then when they went back to England to continue working on the album, that's when things were getting pretty hostile and tense. Because there was a lot of weird factors coming into play, like John Lennon started to come under the control of a major manipulator, you know what I mean? And a hack and a gold digger, you know what I mean? So come under that person's control, then that alienated him from the rest of the group, and the rest of the group said, what is all of this? And he started acting very strange, you know, and so then so they're making the album, and he comes up, he's in association with this talentless, what do you call somebody, this PT, what do you call a scam artist? Yeah, a confidence, not a confidence man in this case, but a confidence woman, you know, a con artist, that's the word, a con artist.
Okay, the best, Jack, to stop you, I'm going to say this. She sung like a dying cat. That's the best way to describe it.
Which fits right into my whole con artist thematic. So all the people around John Lennon are saying, what is this? Is this like an act, or is this for real? He gets together with this person that makes this Revolution 9, and the other Beatles listen to it and they say, okay, yeah, well, what are you going to do with that? Oh no, we're going to put it on the album. You know, and in the past, when they worked together in harmony, they would always come out with a lot of songs and little things, and they would say, okay, that's junk, I agree, let's throw it out, you know. And then they would, what, 8 to 10 really good songs and make a strong album. But now, you know, he's insisting on this, and they don't want to do it. And then George Martin said, what is this junk? You know, I want it on the album. And then so everybody else says, well, then I want my garbage on the album. Everybody wants their filler material, right? And then Capitol Records / EMI listens to it. Oh, Lord, you know. But they're the Beatles, so okay, we'll put a double album out. Well, naturally, people didn't like it to a large extent because of all the filler, the obvious filler. And then it's a double album, so it costs a lot more. So what happens to the sales? They're not as good as previous albums.
It's like with the clash with London Calling and Sandinista. They released albums for the people at the expense of their own fortune.
Well, the Clash is a little bit more different. It's a little bit different situation. So I'm a big Clash fan, and yeah, they fell off the wagon at the end.
Oh, yeah.
I understand
what a horrible way for a band to finish.
Yeah.
As much as I love the Clash, it breaks my heart the way they ended.
Yeah.
Especially with Mick Jones and Topper Headon. It's just...
Yeah, as an 80s kid, don't get me started on that. Okay. That's a sore point in my heart.
No. Well,
that Beatles story is fascinating, you know, because they just, it was like this downward death spiral, and they get out of it. But then they did get smart and said, we got to hire a business manager because we are just tanking this whole company, right? Say like a brewery, but you know, they're making records. And they don't know what they're doing, and they're losing money now, and an embarrassment. And so they say, Mick Jagger says, hire this guy, Alan Klein, because he knows what he's doing. Well, he did know what he was doing, and he went in there and started kicking behind, you know, firing all kind of people, that all these hanger-on, no talent pilferers, really. And they said, we want to hire him. He's the man to hire. And then Paul McCartney says, oh, no, I want to hire my future father-in-law to be the manager. Well, of course, the other three Beatles say, what are you talking about? That's a conflict of interest. He's going to be your father-in-law, and he's going to manage the business. You got to have a neutral. Came this big controversy. But he got outvoted 3-1. And I think that's when he started thinking, huh?
And that's why I've always said Ringo was the smartest one of the group. I've always said that. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of them. Ringo was the smartest one because he kept his mouth shut. He kept his mouth shut for the most part, and he saw what was going on. And all he wanted
he was
play
actually
music.
The first one to quit the group.
Yeah.
Because in 1968, he's just sitting up there during these recording sessions at the drum kit watching them argue for hours. And he was like, what am I doing here? You know, this is a joke. So he just said, I'm going to quit the group. I mean, I don't want to. This is no good. So he quit. Oh, no. They begging, come back, you know. All right. So after a few weeks, he comes back. All right. So then they're going to make this. They get this other crazy idea. Let's make an album. And it's going to be live. Well, that was part of the the movie contract problem because what was it United Artists said it's a 5 movie contract. Where's number? Or it was 4, I guess. Where's number 4? Hey, where's the next movie? Oh well, they couldn't think of anything. They couldn't even hardly work together. So let's just record us. Let's make a documentary of us making an album. Oh, that's a good idea. In this big cold warehouse that we've never worked in before, surrounded by a bunch of people where we never made an album in public before, with this con artist part of the proceedings, disrupting everything. And that didn't work out too well. And that's when George Harrison quit in the middle of it. They had a, you know, you might have seen the recording of George Harrison and Paul McCartney getting into like an argument on film during the recording of the album, which was so embarrassing. You know, all the other Beatles are thinking, oh, Lord. You know, so then Harrison just said, I'm quitting. He really had wanted to quit since around 1966. But to show how they were when he quit, they said, what are we going to do? And then they started plotting like, well, maybe we could hire Eric Clapton to take his place. Just quit Cream. And they were thinking, you know, that might work, you know. So then before they could really start making a move on that, then Harrison finally said, all right, I'm back, but I'm pissed. So, well, it just continued on. And then John Lennon dropped a bomb on him after they made Abbey Road. They did this whole Abbey Road, right? Which was sort of like, all right, it's been 2 years of this constant chaos, or a year and a half. Let's make a serious album. No girlfriends, no hangers on. Let's make an album like we used to make. Okay, they made it in 6 weeks, Abbey Road. Everybody's bragging on it. They do these live, which are on YouTube, by the way, these live song by song analysis. You can listen to that. John Lennon does a song by song analysis of that album. And everything looks great. And then they're talking about this new record contract they just signed for the whole 1970s, the most lucrative record contract in history. And then at the meeting in September 1969, John Lennon tells the rest of the Beatles, oh, well, by the way, I'm going to quit. What? Yeah, I'm going to quit the group. I don't like this anymore. But let's keep it a secret because we got Let It Be coming out that we recorded last year when we had our big fight. Or earlier this year. So let's keep it under wraps. They said, okay, good idea. You know, you don't want to sabotage that. So the whole thing was just, and then of course, who actually quit at the end of all of it? Who was the one that quit in public? April 1970, Paul McCartney, of all people. He was the one trying to keep the group together more than anybody. But he got so angry, he finally quit. And right before Let It Be was about to come out, he quit without telling any of the other Beatles. And he made a press release, and boy, John Lennon was mad. He wanted to fight the guy, really.
Yeah. And that was unfortunately, because before John Lennon was killed, they were slowly starting to communicate with each other.
Yeah, and talking about maybe they'll get back together for something, because their solo careers weren't exactly setting the world on fire.
Well, keep in mind too, hold on, Jay. Keep in mind with the Beatles, my understanding is, I'm not the biggest fan of them. Like I've said, they were big in the mid to late 60s into the 70s. Correct. I don't know if they could have sustained. I really don't know. And that's a great unknown. I mean, the only comparison
could you imagine an 80s Beatles sound?
I don't know they can do that industrial European sound in the 80s. I don't think they could.
No.
What I was going with
electric drums and synths.
No, what I'm saying is like, hold on, Jay. What I'm saying is like the only comparison, not comparison, but parallel I can think of what they did over time, bridge generations, is the Jacksons. And they had a hard time when they got back together, like fully back together and did something. Yeah. So
Triumph tour, yeah.
Yeah, like they might be the exact same situation. And maybe I'm wrong because I'm in the wrong era, but you guys tell me.
Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, look. So John Lennon wanted to get out the group, but he used to say a lot of stuff he would get aggravated and say stuff, and then he would never carry through with it. You understand? So we know people like that. Even we're like that sometimes, or I'm like that. You know, you'll say something in the heat of the moment, you'll say something, but you don't really mean it. You know, like, so he had a habit of doing that. So he said in September '69, I'm quitting. I'm out of the group. Okay, fine. But let's keep it under wraps till May of next year when the album comes out. So he agreed to that. Okay, we'll keep it quiet. But then he never did anything to even indicate that he was quitting the group, really. He just said he was going to quit, but he didn't do anything. Now, here's where so he might have just cooled down, and maybe 1970 might have said, oh, heck, let's just make another album. I was just irritated. You know how I am. And they might have said, yeah, sure, we know. Okay. But the flashpoint came with the making of Let It Be. They had recorded most of it in '69. But George Harrison had a song called I, Me, Mine. And they really needed to record that properly for the album. So 3 of the Beatles got together and recorded that. McCartney, Ringo Starr recorded that song in early 1970, in fact. John Lennon wasn't there. That's really not that unusual because the Beatles recorded many songs where all 4 were not present. Because they were virtuosos, right? Like,
yeah.
If Ringo wasn't there, Paul McCartney would play the drums. They could all play everybody's instruments, so that nobody would know. So then they wanted to hire a producer because John Lennon didn't like George Martin's production style. He never did. And he told George Martin, you're always ruining our albums with your bad production, which upset George Martin. But that's just how John Lennon felt about it. He didn't like his production stuff. He said, I want Phil Spector. I want Phil Spector, damn it. Okay, so, you know, Phil Spector was like the genius, right?
Yeah.
So they said, okay, we'll hire Phil Spector. And George Martin was glad anyway because he didn't want to go through this 10,000 reels of music that they had recorded, try to figure out what to put on the album. But Phil Spector, he was the kind of person that would do that. I mean, Phil Spector would kill you because you looked at him wrong. You know, he's the kind of person that would pull out a gun and kill you because you gave him a bad look. But he could also go through 10,000, you know, hours of audio and make a great album, or at least a good album. Just going through it, you know, oh, good, I could do a Beatles album. Job, in my opinion, I think Let It Be turned out good. But he, the problem came with the Long and Winding Road, Paul McCartney song. Starts hiring orchestra to do strings. Yeah. And he hired these girls to sing. So Paul McCartney goes in the studio and says, oh, I want to see how my song's coming out. He said, what's up with all these strings and these girls? And Phil Spector said, oh, I'm too thin, like it didn't have enough body to it, so I'm adding to it. And Paul McCartney said, oh no, cut all that out. I don't like all that stuff. I want this song to be like an acoustic, stripped down, unplugged version. He said, oh, okay. Well, he didn't stop doing it. When Paul McCartney left, he said, oh, he don't know what he's doing. I know how to produce. I know music. So then later on, Paul McCartney goes back to the studio and listens again. He says, damn it, I told you to not put all that stuff on there. He said, well, they hired me to be the producer. I'm producing. So he got mad. He starts calling out other Beatles on the phone. This guy's ruining my song. I want it stop. I want it stop now. So John Lennon, Ringo Starr to the song as Phil Spector did it. Seems all right to us. And then they didn't really seem concerned about how angry he was getting about it. They were like, well, what's the big deal? You know, it sounds fine. Oh, he said, well, that's it. Nobody, you know, nobody messes around with my music. But so what does he do? He secretly plots to make a solo album. And then to promote the solo album, he's going to make a press release 3 weeks before, or I think it was 3 weeks before Let It Be comes out. Beatles, and they're never getting back together without telling any of the other 3 Beatles, even though they had made an agreement that they're going to keep things under wraps till after Let It Be. So when John Lennon, when that came out in public, John Lennon hit the roof.
Yeah.
He just flipped out. He said, it was my band. I started this damn band. You joined, and look what you did. And he was mad. And so they, like you said, they had that falling out that went on for a number of years, and he was just mad, you know. He even wrote that song, How Do You Sleep?
Yeah, How Do You Sleep at Night? Boy, infamously said, how do you sleep at night? You...
The only thing you ever did was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a complete swipe and a cheap shot, you know?
Oh, yeah. It was a good one, though. When you think about it, that was a good dig.
And then John Lennon, in his typical way, tried to kind of weasel out of it, because they said, did you feel funny writing that song about Paul McCartney called How Do You Sleep? And he said, well, I think I really wrote it about myself. I meant to myself, I was saying to myself, how do you sleep? But that's bullcrap. You know who he was writing it about.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, the lyrics of the song themselves lend to what he was talking about.
Huh?
I mean, the song itself would lend to what he was talking about. That's all that is. Everybody knew up front what he was talking about in that song.
Yeah, but John Lennon was funny. He would try to backtrack on stuff, you know, like, oh, I was really speaking to myself. Yeah, right, sure. No, you were mad at Paul McCartney, so you were calling him out. And it was funny because they called each other out on records for like 2 or 3 years. They had like an interesting little rivalry. Kind of like some of the beer tubers have, like they'll go back and forth on other people's chats.
Shots fired.
But not necessarily so, not necessarily in such an oblique way. Yeah, everybody's asking, is it me or Drunken One stopped coming around as much? Yeah, like what's the story with that?
Yeah, I'm not seeing too many live hangouts with Drunken One.
My understanding, he's joining a lot of other ones that goes on during the week, but it's like I haven't really. I don't know. Okay. Let me start that over. I'm not sure which ones he's on. I mean, he was a guarantee. Like on mine, for instance, he was a guaranteed lock since I started. You know, I don't know of his weather. I don't know what he's doing down there. I have no idea.
Yeah, he might have just got tired of it, you know.
Which usually could be, but it's one of the ones like I enjoyed having him around, you know. Because
yeah.
Hey Peter, you want to read those comments?
Yes, comments.
I shall have a look at the comments.
Yeah, and Drunken One is a home brewer. I can bounce stuff off of him that very few people I can bounce off other people. That's why I enjoy talking to him.
Yeah. Oh, guess what, Lance?
What's that?
And Peter.
Yeah.
I was in a grocery store today and I saw that there's bourbon aged, what is that called? Bourbon barrel series came in.
What's that? The
From
Canadian?
who?
But I don't know which one it was. I didn't tear it open to look because
Was
I'm
it
not going to.
CBS? Because I know
They said CBS wasn't coming out till December though. Boy, oh boy, if they've got the CBS now, ooh, I'm gonna do a release party online.
Hell yeah. Have you reviewed the KBS run?
Yes, I've done the KBS. I like KBS. It's rich. It has flavor. But it's a little heavy for me.
Okay.
And that's me. That's not the beer, right? That's a personal preference issue. It's not the beer. They're talking about the tap takeover. Kent Beer Review says, no, I hate takeovers. Me too, but they happen. I had to take over because they had gone to the bathroom.
Now the CBS.
Okay.
Now I haven't heard any breweries or bars here in town that's going to have it. Now, is there a price point that they're going to have that at? Do you know?
Yeah, high.
Oh, figure high.
About
okay.
$25, isn't it, for a what's 750 ml in the American?
That's a 22-ounce bomber here.
I think they have it in milliliters because it's a Canadian base. So I think it is literally a 750 ml.
You know, like 750. That's literally here in the States. If I remember my math correctly, that's a bomber in this country.
Mm-hmm.
It's a super bomber.
I mean, that's going to be what, 22, 23, 20, that's 25 ounces, right?
Yeah, 25.4, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Look, I can tell you right now, if we get the CBS, which I know we're going to get it, it's going to be in those little 355 milliliter bottles. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We don't really get those big. We don't get those bombers and those super bombers anymore because they don't sell.
I don't think CBS is going to be released in the 355 12 Fluid Dancers bottles, though. I think that they're just releasing the bigger bottles.
Yeah, but why do we get all the other barrel series in the little bottles?
I'm not sure. I could be completely wrong with that. I'm just going off information.
Yeah, because all the rest been coming out in 4-packs, 4-packs.
Okay.
The DKML, the Doom, what's the other one, Lance? We just got Backwoods Bastard 2017 this week.
Yeah, like CBS was a
beautiful beer. That is an absolutely beautiful beer. That to me is a much superior beer than the KBS, and I don't understand why people don't hold the Backwoods Bastard in that same high regard that they do with the KBS.
Is marketing. This all is a straight marketing.
I'm not too sure if I would have to do I would have to revisit those to be sure. I think I preferred this KBS, but we could still be friends.
It's all good. I'm a macro apologist, so
hey, I watched your.
I'm open to everyone.
Did you notice that I watched your a review becomes a rant?
Yeah, that was just once I've gone, I'll just let it go, and I was like, no, this is not a review anymore. Just upload it as it is.
Did you like my comment?
To be honest, I need to catch up on comments, so I look forward to reading them.
All I said was, I just made a one-sentence comment. I said, beer is not. What did you say? Beer is.
I'm trying to remember now.
You said something like along the lines of beer is just a beverage that you drink and you may or may not like it, and people have different preferences about it.
Yeah, something like that.
So I said beer is not just a drink. It is a social.
Yeah, it's a social staple or something like that. Yeah, yeah. I think I remember seeing that now.
I said it's a cultural struggle, and the brands of beer you drink indicate your position in that struggle, and it indicates your position as it concerns international, universal concepts of justice.
Yeah. The world of beer is a weird and wonderful place. It really is.
It is very weird and wonderful, mostly.
Well, it's wonderful because I'm drinking the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale.
The modern classic.
Yeah, it's such a consistently fantastic beer, in my opinion. And so many breweries have tried to emulate that recipe, but never come anywhere near close to it. It's just a classic, and I love that beer.
I like it too. They said CBS is coming out December 1st nationwide, but the brewery does it in November. Okay. Kent Beer Reviews, Craig. Hello, Craig. He said he was talking about a brewery, Jay. Sorry to disappoint. Oh, I wasn't disappointed. CBS is only a 750 milliliter, says Average Joe. Peter's right. Oh.
For once.
No. You've been correct more than once.
I appreciate that.
Experience with a German beer Sunday, Peter.
Oh, was that the Faltenberger? Was that the Baroque Dunkel?
Yeah. It was only the second beer in my life that made me throw up.
Really? It was that bad? Oh, yeah.
It was really bad. It was monstrously bad.
That's such a shame because Faltenberger is such a good brewery. Because they've got like the history behind them.
I was so jacked up to do that video. I was so excited. I did all my research and I had all my little notes and I even had my Limburger cheese and my crackers. And I said, this is going to be great. This is going to be a great video. And then I took that first smell and I said, uh-oh, this is going to be bad. I mean, I was appalled, you know. I watched the replay the other day. I had to laugh to myself. I said, you just did not realize what you were about to do to yourself.
Oh, God. Are you still going to upload it, though?
Oh, it's already posted.
Oh, is it? I've not been catching up with YouTube recently. I need to. Yeah, the
thumbnail, I'm making a hand claw like this.
Okay, I'll look out for that one then.
The smell right off the bat made me think this is not good. And then I took some sips and I just said, oh no, it tastes like rancid prunes. I mean, what is a prune? A prune is a plum that, right? So now this is going rotten. Uh-oh, Alfredo Apellidos joined the video.
Oh,
left.
And he left immediately.
Yeah. Hello, goodbye. Keeping that Beatles theme going.
Right. Say hello. We say yeah. You say bye. I say hello. But I drank about let's say 6 ounces of the beer. But I just dumped it down the sink. I said I'm not drinking it. And then I drank the beer Lao from Laos. Beautiful beer. I enjoyed it so much. And I ate lunch. I ate some good soup. Sopped it up with bread and butter. Ate some chocolate cookies. Drank some milk. Took a nap. Now the nap was weird because I had all these strange dreams and I was like deep into the nap. Unusual because I usually only sleep for 10 minutes. So when I woke up, I felt disoriented. Like I didn't know quite where I was for a minute. You ever had a nap like that?
Yes, I have.
I can't say I have.
you're not sure what town you're in. So then I said, okay, I got it together, and I said, oh no, I don't feel well. My stomach was feeling very nauseous, and it went on all night where I felt bad. Anything that even I didn't eat any supper or even drink any hot tea. But 2:45 in the morning, that's when that beer came back for a second.
Oh no!
That sounds horrible.
It was horrible. I went to brush my teeth. I said, okay, I can do this. I can make it. I can make it. I went to brush my teeth, and I just set the toothbrush down. This is it. So here we go. And the weirdest thing was, right, I had eaten that whole big bowl of soup with all the chunks of chicken and everything. None of that came back up. So like the only thing that would not digest was that brown beer.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like it was poisonous, and my body was saying, "No way, we're not digesting this." But I felt like hell the next day at work. But finally, around 11 o'clock, it started to pass. But even all week here, I haven't been right. I noticed this morning that my weight was 3 pounds lower than normal. So it really knocked me down. Not funny, but
I'm sorry. It's the way you're telling the story, and it's more amusing than it should be. And I do apologize about that, but that genuinely sounds like a very horrific experience with beer.
It was the worst ever. And I've had a few bad ones, especially with like that 15% beer. No, I'm sorry, 12%. Now, I drank some beer that didn't make me throw up once, but it made my bones hurt for 4 days. 40 Street Legal. And if you don't know about it, don't ever experience it.
It was that bad?
Well, if you drink a beer and it makes your bones hurt for 4 days, what is that telling you?
Yeah, you got a point. I'm sorry.
And you feel like hell. I mean, hell. Look, I'm going to tell you how bad that beer was. That beer, 40 Street Legal, and I remember exactly where I bought it, was so bad. But that was the problem. My body did digest it, you see. It was so bad that I had that can on the shelf for about 3 or 4 years, and I would look at it every day. And every time I would look at that can, it would make me think about how I felt. So one day I looked at that can, and I just crushed it up and I threw it in the trash.
Jeez.
Literally looking at that can made me feel the way I felt years before. That's a bad experience. And it's like you say, it's terrible for Weltenberger because I had some wonderful beers from those people.
Yeah, they're a fantastic brewery, especially the Assam Bock.
Oh, I had that one. But you see, they have a date code that's indecipherable.
Okay.
It's almost in hieroglyphics. So you just don't know how old it is until you pop that cap, and then you smell it. And then you could tell if a beer is fresh or not just by smelling it, right?
Yeah.
But good grief, when I smell that, I wish I could let you smell it over the internet if I could somehow recreate that. But you don't want to go through it.
That sounds absolutely awful.
Horrible, horrible. Lance, you ever had a beer that made you that ill?
Yeah, it was actually a Goose Island, believe it or not. I can't remember which one it was. I want to say it was a coffee porter a few years ago. I had that in a pot pie of all things, right? That's what I wanted. I felt fine, took a nap, woke back up, and started puking all over the place. And that pot pie was fresh. So I knew it was the beer. And I was just screwed up for like 3 weeks because of that. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
That sounds horrible. That really does genuinely sound horrible.
Like here recently, I haven't really had anything that got me in that position to be really sick. It really hasn't.
Sorry, I had to drop off and come back on. My audio remember I told you it would deteriorate if it was in Google Chrome?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize. See, I can't hear it. I cannot hear it deteriorating, so I have to just.
It didn't sound too bad on my end.
Average Joe said he couldn't stand to hear it anymore.
Oh, okay.
Said it was unbearable, almost unbearable. Sorry. Don't blame me. Blame Google Chrome for resetting everything and destroying Hangouts. Well, Peter, I appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, not a problem. Always a pleasure.
And I hope you enjoy your return to England.
It's going okay.
You sound so excited.
Oh yeah, I'm so thrilled. So chipper.
Yeah. Hear the enthusiasm, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's a famous country.
Yeah. Yep.
So, hey, your country used to own mine.
Them's the breaks.
Those are the breaks. I've heard that phrase in a long time.
Isn't that right, Lance? They used to own the United States.
Yes, they did. But like he said, those are the breaks.
Yeah.
Those are the breaks. That's why we speak in English. Hey, well, Lance, take care. And what happened to Akron the other night? That was.
Don't get me started. I was at work. I was following the action. Don't get me started. Please don't.
When I went to sleep that night, I thought to myself, this is not the way they want this to be. And when I woke up the next morning, I was shocked. I said, uh-oh. And I could tell Lance was not pleased.
Yeah, our starting quarterback was suspended for a game, and it's like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't.
Yeah, and it looked like it was damn cold out there. Excuse my language.
No, it was cold. It was cold down there in Oxford, but it was it's gonna be like that next week when they play Ohio. But let's not talk about that.
Oh, Ohio. Oh my gosh, you have my sympathies.
Yeah, they just beat Toledo last week. Like, don't get me started.
I saw that too. But they have the best coach in the MAC, so what can you do?
Yeah. Oh yes, but like I says, like it's the MAC, so I have no ideas. That's why I want to talk about it.
Yeah, I got you. You know where I stand on football. Hey, well, y'all take care and have a great, safe weekend. All of Peter's, I want to wish all of Peter's viewers, and I mean all of them. And I'm entirely serious in that.
Oh, we know.
I want to wish all of them. I want to wish all of them a great weekend, and I'm sure they feel the same way.
Exactly.
All right.
Mutual.
You take care, dear brothers.
Yep. You too, Jay. Have a good one.
Thank you.
And then there were two.
There were two, and there's about to be one because I got to get some sleep. Now, for the record, for everybody out there here in the States, it's 8:16 Eastern time, but I only got 90 minutes of sleep last night. My sleep patterns are totally jacked up right now.
That's
last
never
few days.
good.
No one's like, and I hesitated doing a chat on my side, but I figured I'd jump on early to let everybody know what's going on. But it's like, ugh. It's like I'm ready to collapse now. I mean, and plus, like I already know I'm working both jobs tomorrow, so it's one of those ones to where, oh snap, I got to get up at 5:45, go to the first job, jump public transit, because I'm not going to have time to go home and go to the second job and bar back. So I'm totally screwed. And the second job is pretty much 1 p.m. to question mark.
Okay, just to whenever you needed to.
Yeah, it's like I can get out of here at 2 o'clock. I can get out of here at 2 a.m. So, like, I might be a dead man when I get out of here Sunday. If I get out of here Sunday, I'm going to be a dead man.
Oh, God, yeah. I can totally imagine. Sounds horrible.
Yeah, and it's just one of those ones where I'm just hoping that the doctors take me off no drive. That's what's killing me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I go for testing on Monday morning, and it's like, please take me off no drive. Please figure out what's wrong with me. And it's one of those ones to where you know what? I'm looking at the chat, and you're probably looking at it too. Average Joe is very active. He's not joined in yet.
Yes, yes. I think he's planning to join, so I shall send him the link just in case he wants to.
Oh yes, the main man from Buffalo. Well, let me rephrase that. The main man from Northern Erie County might join.
Yeah.
You know,
he is something of a legend, I suppose.
Oh, he is. And I've had great conversations with him. He is so knowledgeable. He really is. I mean, not just from the stateside. I mean, he knows a lot of the international stuff. I mean, he's at times kept me updated on stuff when I have chats. So it's one of those ones where, you know, Average Joe, I'm telling you this right now, you have an open invite to my chat and to be a mod. That's an open invite because you know your stuff.
Yep,
Just let me know when I'll do it. There. And there's Average Joe right there.
Yeah. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
It's been so long, fellas.
Yeah. Are you here for some Beatles talk?
Definitely not. I've learned a lot of things this evening, fellas. A lot of things. I believe Lance was talking about my knowledge as I got in here, which is very minuscule. But after today, I might be the smartest guy in the world. Actually, last like 45 minutes or so.
Actually, no, you gave me information I never knew about at times. You know, and I always respect that.
Was it positive information?
Absolutely.
There's a first for everything.
Yep. I can attest to that.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you got something right today, Peter.
What was that?
The CBS 750 milliliter bottles. Yeah.
What's
a rarity?
Beer flow.
Ah, that's right. You do. That's on you. So how you fellas doing tonight? I know Lance is about to pass out.
Yeah, like this no sleep situation is so getting to me so bad.
Lance says, Hoodie Brothers here. You know, we've got our hoodies. We can do all kinds of crazy stuff. What's up with yours? There's a little bit of a...
It's a very...
tear it up a little bit? Yeah, a little bit of tearing going on. What's up?
Well, like, with mine is like, I threw the old school hoodie from 15 years ago on because I was being lazy and finding something halfway decent to wear. And plus, it's only like 25 degrees outside. And Peter, I think it's like in Celsius, like what, -3, -4? Have you do the conversion? Is that right?
Roughly around that, I think.
Okay.
Not too sure, though.
It's like cold here in Northeast Ohio. Like up there where you're at in Western New York, Average Joe, I don't know what the temperature is right now. But
it's like 6 Fahrenheit if I had... Yeah, it's like 6 Fahrenheit if I... No, it's like... I think it's 20-ish, so it's like -6 Celsius, something like that.
So you're getting 10 feet of snow then, basically.
No, we're not. Hopefully not. Please no. Please no. No, we're not seeing any. Well, no, I did have a dusting on the ground today, but it's just really bitterly cold, very windy, so the wind chills.
You're on the far end of the lake. You're on the far end of the lake, and it's wide open right now. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, we're gonna get hit. There's gonna be lake snow. We're gonna
Okay.
get pounded.
This
I'm
shit-
not, because I'm in the northern part of Western New York. So everyone like about 10 to 15 miles below me, they have like 6 feet of snow, and I have about 2 inches.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Par for the course for my life in general.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
just that 2 inches.
Yeah,
Just
that's
seems
about
to
it.
follow Joe around no
Yeah.
matter where he goes.
It's my little Polish lucky charm. That's all it is.
Kabasa.
Yeah, it's like about a seventh of one. Yeah, that's great. So how was your live review with Dean tonight? I saw a little bit of it. I caught it
was
late.
really good. It was a very surprisingly good beer. Even though I'd had it 2 weeks prior, but I'd completely forgotten most of the tasting notes.
Well,
But
I mean, that's what happens when you're drinking a lot of Elvis juice.
exactly. But to be honest, it's one of those beers that it owes a lot to the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. If you're being
Well, a lot of
brutally
beers do.
honest, yeah.
A lot of beers do, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where a lot of people get into craft beer nowadays, and specifically, you know, into the whole hop craze with, you know, all these New England style and the Merc bombs and the turbid greatness that is all these beers. Haze for days, and it's just like, all right, what's next? You know, just there's going to be a lot of things that are next, but you know, they'll go back and try a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and be like, oh, this is okay. Well, yeah, you know, remember when that was released, that was it.
Yeah.
That was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
When it was released.
Yeah, it was it. But you know, I think you have to respect it.
Oh yeah,
Plain and simple. It's one of those OG beers that you know, kind of started it all, and it's still a damn tasty pale ale. Is it going to blow your socks off? No, but I don't think you should go into that expecting it to do that at all ever anymore. Just well made, consistent,
exactly. Yep.
Easy to drink for what it is. It's amazing.
Yep, and I think they've only ever had one problem with batches, and that was when there was a little bit of glass.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Potentially got into some bottles, but that was
recently though, right? A couple of years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
but I mean that's happened to other. I mean, Heineken had that issue. I'm pretty sure it was Heineken. I'm sure anybody who loves macros could correct me on that. Anybody out there, anybody at all, because I'm not up on that. But I do remember hearing. I think it was Heineken. I mean, maybe it was Corona. I don't know. It was one of the big boys. They had the same thing with the glass in the bottles, or like it was the potential, like I think the actual glass potential for shattering was very high, breaking. Yeah, no, I mean, it's, you know, the one thing that macro beers have over micro beers, and probably will always have, is the consistency factor. But I mean, if you're going to drink a craft beer most of the time, I don't think you're looking for it every single time to be the same. I mean, you kind of want that, I guess, if you're doing like a year round. But I mean, you give them a little leeway because they don't have the technology, and if they do, they don't have the resources or the money to do something, say, AB InBev does. But Sierra Nevada, damn close. Same thing with like you know, Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams. They do a really good job of, you know, they're just having consistent batches for the most part, at least from my experience.
Yeah, and I think could even put like someone like Stone in there as well. Potentially, just even though it's like that sort of like step, very small step below, I'd say, because you know, if a brewery can afford to have resorts and then premises outside of the US
in different continents,
they're not exactly, you know, mom and pop sort of deal.
No, I would put a lot. I mean, honestly, there's probably a good 10, 15 breweries from the States that I'd put, you know, up there with, you know, just being very consistent brewers, especially when it comes to their core range. You know, it's one of those things where they will never be on par with the macro companies. But I mean, for a small microbrewery, and by small I mean just not a huge macro brewery, they do a pretty good job. You know, I think it's almost unrealistic because a lot of people will get upset with their local brewery. You know, that okay, this batch is not as good as this batch, or this batch is better. It's like, well, you know, it's this small little brewery in your town. If you're expecting them to brew on on par with these big macro companies in terms of consistency. And I mean, they have deals for hops and grains and all this stuff. It changes. They get the short end of the stick. They're on the lower end of the totem pole. It's not always going to be the same. I mean, I've had some local breweries here that actually just changed up the recipe based on what they had available in terms of hops. They actually did a version of their like it was just like a golden ale, but they called it no nang because they didn't have Tettnang hops. They weren't able to get any, so they had to actually make one, and they called it no nang. They replaced it with something else, and it was only one batch, but it was cool to see them not just make a batch without those hops and just still try to pass it off. So I gave them credit on that, but it's just it's one of those things.
Right. Sometimes you got to do that because, especially when availability for our supplies, for our supply chain, you not necessarily throw something out there, but try something and let the house decide if it's good or not.
Yeah,
that's always a good thing.
Yeah, we're doing it. We all just is this how we're rocking it now, Lance? This is what we're doing.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, it's like that. Lance,
do it.
Like I don't think you answered my original question, but like, why are there tears again? Why did you tear your hoodie like halfway, or did it just rip and you just rock with it because it's old?
I just rock with it it's old because like it ripped on its own.
Really?
Well, yeah.
It's
getting into some trouble, Lance.
This hoodie is 15 years old. Cut me some slack.
Yeah, there's probably some stories in that one, huh?
Oh yeah, we're not going to talk about that because this is a family-friendly program. All right.
I don't know. I think that kind of went out the window based on the title of this chat.
Yeah, man, that's very true.
Of course, you failed to deliver, though, Peter. So that's very clickbaitish of you.
Yeah, it's very unsatisfying trick on the bus, but
you disappointed a lot of viewers
every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
I tell you what, guys, I gotta bounce though. I gotta get some sleep. I'm ready to pass out.
Yeah, you do. That's 90 minutes is not, it's not cool, Lance.
No, so it's just one of those ones where it's one of real nice, like with solo sleep. I'm ready to black out any moment. So I better get off here now for something happens.
Yeah, we don't need you to black out.
To do that in your actual bed.
Yeah. And my bed is probably about 6 feet in front of me. So it's like outside my webcam, I can see my bed. That's where I'm going.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a big jump.
A big judge. Turn off your camera first. So yeah. I mean, we don't need any accidents on air. No.
Right. No. All right, guys. You guys have a good one. All right.
Take it easy, Lance. Have a good one.
All right.
Thanks for joining.
All right. Fiordaroo.
See you later.
You had to sneak it. Oh, he left. You had to sneak it for the room. He totally had to sneak it in. He totally did.
Mm-hmm. Oh god, what a weird and wonderful chat this has been. We had
I don't really have anything to add. Yeah, I mean, you said it all.
We had a semi-drunk Austrian.
That was great. I like that.
Talking with that was always good to have Wolfgang involved.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I missed the first little bit of it when Rob was in here. I kind of joined as, I think, a little bit like right around like when Lance joined, because I went to go check up on his LTL general chat.
Oh, was he doing an LTL? I did not realize he was actually broadcasting.
And I saw the link on Facebook and I clicked it and I go in and I see chat is disabled for this stream. I'm like, what are you trying to do, Lance? What are you trying? And then look, it's like said streamed like 20 minutes ago. Yeah, I'm like, and then I watched a little bit and he started getting angry at that. He's like, you know what? And I don't even know what he was angry about. And I didn't want to fire him up, but he was angry. So he's like, I'm just, you know what? I see the Clueless drinker. He's doing a live show. He's like, I'm gonna leave here. I'm gonna go over there, and I'm not happy about it. But I don't know about happy about it, like as in like angry at you. Maybe just angry in general, like Google.
Just a general anger at the world of the YouTubes. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Do my own investigation.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'll help you if you. I mean, I'll help investigate whatever this is.
Like a crime fighting team. Are we establishing a crime fighting team?
Yeah, I mean we can do it.
For now, we just lost a view. It's unbelievable.
Oh well, I mean they were all here for Lance, clearly.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's why I joined.
Yeah.
I mean, why else are you joining?
Yeah. It's like
we gained somebody back. They heard Lance with
those facts.
It peaked when you guys started talking about the Beatles. It was like constantly like 3 or 4 watching, then it jumped to 7.
Yeah. It's like, that's where you get YouTube money from.
Oh, for sure. When a single person discusses the Beatles. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I watched. I mean, hey, I was here.
Yep.
Craig was there.
I did leave because I needed to get another beer, but I did genuinely get caught up in watching a little bit of a documentary because my mum's boyfriend was watching it downstairs, and I come back and a certain person's reading comments that are aimed at him. So I was like, yeah, okay.
Well, and Lance also did. He was kind of beside himself. He was like, where did Peter go? He said he's going to the little boy's room, and then he's getting something to eat. He should be back by now. He's like freaking out. I'm like, Lance, it's all right.
Yeah,
it's right. Just talk to the camera.
We're still on track.
You got viewers. You got viewers.
No,
I don't care. Whatever.
What strange amount of viewers.
Yeah. Whatever. I'll do what I want.
What? I don't care.
Can't be bothered. Can't be bothered.
You fucking can.
Yeah. Where are you, Craig? Yeah. What happened, bro? A couple comments that you have in here, but I mean, I don't know if we have actual. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Craig, you should join the whiskey hangout one day. That would be interesting to see Craig join the whiskey hangout. It's got to be said.
It'd be. I don't think interesting. I think it'd be amazing. It'd be absolutely amazing.
It's a little bit smoky, but I don't care. I don't care.
It's a little bit smoky, but I don't care. Whatever. It's 40%. Whatever. Craig, it's hilarious when he gets into the I don't care mode. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, he just like proper has a burst of it. That's what I love about it. It's not like subtle. It's always like, yeah, I don't care. I just don't care.
I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered.
He flails his arms, and it's always a good time.
Lee said you should try finding a whiskey hangout where they know what they're talking about. That's what we're talking about. I mean, Craig's going to lead the pack of whiskey.
Exactly. We'll put Craig in charge. He can moderate, the sole moderator of the chat, and we shall follow his lead.
He'll get on with a whiskey. I don't know what it is. I don't care. Can't look it up. Can't be bothered.
It's just like pour an obscene amount of whiskey into his glass. I don't care. I just don't care.
It's 90 proof. I don't care. I can't be arsed. Oh man, that's the great thing about Craig though, is that he doesn't have like one single quote. Like I'll say it's on you, or like Lance, hold on. He has like 8 of them. They're all very similar, but depending on his level of I guess drunkenness or just his mood, it changes.
Exactly.
And that's what I think about it.
It's like if he's reviewed 3 beers or 20 beers that night, you know you're going to get that varying level of can't be bothered, can't be asked, I don't care.
Can't be bothered, can't be asked. I can't be arsed, whatever. I'll do what I want. You do what you want. There's like a good 7 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, I'm stale. I kind of am. I am kind of like that's on you. It's pretty stale, yeah. Craig is very creative, so to speak.
Yes, he is.
He just doesn't hold on to that one catchphrase. Yeah, no, you're right, Lee. No, I can't disagree. Can't disagree at all.
Yeah. I can't fight that. I'm sorry, Joe.
No, I mean, I can't fight it. I can't
your position on that.
No, I can't. Lee, why don't you join? Oh, Lee said he was doing podcast homework. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not like he can do that in the background or something like that.
He's not that skilled. He's not that skilled. I mean, he can run a Hangout without like echoes and stuff, but like, you know.
Yeah. And he can
when it comes to multitasking.
Kind of control Paul which is a skill in itself.
I used to be able to do that until Paul would get about 20 beers deep. Then he's kind of uncontrollable. Like you can't.
Yeah. Plus,
can't
I
do
think it's never just 20 beers. It's always like 20 higher ABV beers.
Yeah. No. That's there's a level I think in which you can kind of tame him. When he breaches that level and gets to the next level, then it's like, all right, it's like a dog that got off its off its leash. You might be able to reel him in at some point, but it's highly unlikely.
It's like that 10th Lagunitas, 12th of Never out of the 12 pack. That's when you know you can. Yeah. All right, Paul, you can stop now. And he's like, okay.
When he just has a bunch of bottles in front of him, and they just keep on as he continues throughout the night, you can only see him in half of his actual camera. Yeah, then you know there's an issue.
He's the sort of person who places bottles after he's finished, but he will still continue to drink. Yet he will carefully place each bottle.
You don't see the label though. You just see the open finished bottle as you see the top.
Just like the neck of the. It's a skill in itself. It really, really is.
Lee says, I just happen to understand that deep down Paul's a good person. So no matter what insane shit he says, I've been able to talk him down and deflect it. So, Yep. Yes. Yes, hello?
Yep. Welcome back, Ron.
It's not easy, Lee. It is not. And after this week, he talked about he talked about cleaning that up a little bit, which is good.
Yeah, but that's always good to hear. I always support that.
I'm always down with it anyway.
Yep. Hello, Ron.
Hello, folks. Just listening. I'm like Henry Hill, just listening.
So, are you guys drinking anything this evening?
I'm getting down on some water.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you're drinking water.
Yeah, but this is to dilute the alcohol.
Yeah. Don't lie to us, Peter. You're drinking water because you need to make sure you don't have a hangover from your Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and Adams Ghost Ship that you've consumed.
Very true. And the free Elvis juices.
Oh, you're actually drinking Elvis juices?
The Joseph Holt Maple Ale.
How was that? Did you review it?
I did review it, yeah.
Don't spoil it then!
No. The weird thing was, while I was reviewing it, even though I had the camera switched off and the microphone muted, I was stood here because I've got my camera stood on the CD rack that's here. So if my camera was still switched on, Wolfgang would have literally been just looking at my crotch. And it was actually quite distracting because I couldn't stop thinking about that as I was recording the beer review. But it was a very good beer. Does the Joseph Holt stuff make its way to the States?
I can't say that I've ever seen it in my neck of the woods, but no idea.
Okay. It seems like one of those beers that would appear in like Philadelphia or something, or like the backwoods of Kansas.
Well, it's funny. That was very comparable. I feel like
I'm terrible at geography, and I'm just trying to think.
I feel like Philadelphia does get a lot of like random distribution, like the actual Philadelphia area, like the city itself. They have a lot of bottle shops that they get stuff from. I think they're the only place like on the East Coast that gets like Pliny the Elder. Like only place on the East Coast is Philadelphia. They actually get it in bottles. You can find a lot of Russian River stuff. The distribution, I don't know what the legalities are with like how they get stuff, but it's a lot of weird stuff there that you don't find anywhere else, like in the state of PA or in general on the East Coast. So,
Yeah, PA's a very weird place for like the imports, like was it Coniston Bluebird?
Yep.
Or something
we get that here. We get that here.
That's such a strange beer to make its way to the States. I don't understand why that beer is like singled out for like the American like import. I don't know. It just makes no sense to me.
A lot of like we get like the Samuel Smith stuff obviously being popular, Folder stuff. Ridgeway is another one that we get, like the Bad Elf, Insanely Bad Elf, all that stuff. St. Peter stuff makes its way over here, some of the Witchwood stuff. We get a lot of J.W. Lee's, like all the old school harvest sales and everything. You'll see them up. Like I just was in my local bottle shop today, and there's like a 2000 J.W. Lee's harvest sale. And I mentioned that to Craig, and Craig's like, "We don't even see that here." And I'm like,
"Yeah,
okay,
we've never seen J.W. Lee's. The only J.W. Lee's beer I've ever seen was the Moonraker, which is the strong ale that they do, and that's it. Even though we're like 1 hour train ride away from them."
Yep. Yeah, no, it's well, I know everyone uses all the like Cloudwater and is it Northern Monk, they use a lot of their yeast. Isn't it the JW Lee's yeast for their IPAs and whatnot? Is there a reason? Is it just they found that was like the best to work with it?
I have no idea. I'm not too sure what like even unique characteristic that the yeast strain would give, but I don't know, that's like one of the weirdest things. It's like you've got this like craft like boom, and then they're like using we've got a J.W. Lee's like very traditional yeast strain that we're using, but there's like no other connection aside from that. Like, you don't really see like J.W. Lee's actually collaborating with some of these new craft beers or craft breweries, but yet they've got like this evidently fantastic yeast strain.
Yeah, it has to be something that just accentuates the hops, like the fruitiness and whatnot. I would think there's got to be a reason they're using it, right? And there's got to be a reason why they specifically mention it, like in every brew. They're like, "We're using the JWE's, JWE's yeast strain, blah blah blah." And it's like, oh, okay. Aren't you using that in every?
I don't know if it's just to like, because it's Manchester, or if it's. I don't know. I've never really understood it because a lot of the beers use that same yeast strain, so maybe it's just a really good, solid, workable, dependable component to the beer. I'm not too sure, and I don't think
they tried selling it around here. It didn't do too well.
What was that? J.W. Lee's. What beers were they selling?
Just a different, like a little variety of them. I know they have a big kind of a catalog, but they just put a few out here, but they just sat on the shelf. Bird, and then they had, that Bluebird, what they call it, Extra X?
I think so. Primarily for the American market, if I remember.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But,
primarily for the American market, like we're all thinking about, Bluebird bitter over here. I can't wait for that fresh shipment.
All those 10 people.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were too fresh. The Bluebird, Coniston Bluebird may not have been too fresh, but they were pretty good. They were. I noticed when I would compare the U.S. versions to the British versions, they were stronger over here. Like they had higher alcohol by volume.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like in England, it was like 3 point. I don't remember actually, but it's 3 in the 3s, and over here it was a good deal higher. And then, like you said, that Extra X, you didn't get that, right?
No, I've never seen that here in the UK. but I've heard so many American drinkers talk about that specific variation of the beer, and I'm like, it's such an obscure beer in the grand scheme of things, but for some reason it's evidently got quite a big following over in the States for them to just bring that one beer over on a somewhat consistent. The Coniston Bluebird.
I can honestly say I mean, of all my years being in the bottle shops, I've never seen anybody come in and be like, this is what I want, this is what I need. I've never seen anyone pick one off the shelf and buy it. The vast majority of the places I go to that have it kind of has dust on it at this point. I mean, it's kind of like Jay was saying about the JW Lees. They don't fly off the shelves. You have to be like an old ale barley wine lover and be willing to pay the $10 for like a whatever, it's like a 331 maybe, I think it is, or 341 what they put it in. So you're talking, less than 12 ounces. You're paying almost $1 an ounce for something that most people aren't familiar with. Like, not a lot of breweries around here in general in the States brew a ton of barley wines or old ales, especially not ones that are aged in sherry casks and all this different stuff. So you have to be like someone like Matt of Massive Beer Reviews, where that's like your go-to like old ale barley wine type of thing. Yeah, I know he stocked up when he went up to Canada and went to the Albino Rhinos Beer Festival a couple of years ago. He hit a local bottle shop here and ended up spending $200 because they had like all the JW Lees just hanging out.
So. Yeah, Lees did terrible here in Coniston Bluebird and the Extra X, whatever that blue. It was sort of like they claimed it was an IPA, but in American standards it was not. But I know in the British worldview that's different. But those did very well for a while, and then with the onset of all the enormous differentiation of craft beers, you started seeing all the British imports getting squeezed off the shelf and basically thrown off the shelf over time for the most part. And so those old classics just got, and now even the expensive, probably better, or I guess better beers like the Lees, they just don't sell because there's so many canned craft beers that go for $1.69, $1.89. That's what sells. That's what moves. The stuff covered with dust is the $4, $5, $6, $7 bottles. The old Belgian ales, those old Belgian quads and tripels, and the Trappiste beers. No, they don't do well at all anymore. From what I can see, they don't do well.
Yeah, and I think that's actually quite a common thing now. Some of these like more traditional world brews, doesn't matter which part of the world you are in, but when you see like the shelf that's like the world section or imports, they are slowly being like replaced with, which in a way it's a good thing, with like more local breweries or like domestic breweries that are a bit more available than they used to be. So you're starting to see a little bit less of like the really well-established and traditional international beers.
Oh yeah, and the local, like you said, the local beers down here are just taking over the show. There's so many local breweries, and the price is so low. And I could spend the rest of my life just doing obscure New Orleans area craft beers that nobody else could ever possibly get a hold of. Which would be fun to do, wouldn't get many views, doesn't really matter, it's not important anyway. But that's the scene these days. Even out of state craft beers, we got KBS, Backwards Bastard, DKML, and it hits the store, and that's where it stays. In the store, and it's not even expensive.
What people are looking for nowadays, to touch Peter on what you're saying about the world brews, I think it's not even that's not even, it's the case of people want whatever's new and hyped. Period. Whatever crazy adjuncts they're using in a beer, whatever crazy brewing style, if it's barrel aged, if it looks like, you know, milky orange juice, whatever the case may be. That's what people want. I mean, you go into a local bottle shop pretty much anywhere in the States, and most places will have in the front or in some section like the new releases. And that's where people go. I mean, and it's unfortunate because they don't get the chance to go and try the regular porter from a brewery that might be like around here. And in the States, I think one of the best just regular American porters is Edmund Fitzgerald from Great Lakes. It's an amazing world-class porter. I can't tell you the last time I've seen anyone buy that or even attempt to buy it, or even it doesn't fly off. It's amazing beer. If you gave it to somebody and drank it, they'd be, oh, this is awesome, but they wouldn't go back to it because you know, it's not a hype beer, and it's a so-called shelf turd, right? It's a shelfie. It's one of those things where it's like, it's amazing beer, and I understand this. You know, it's cheaper. It sits on the shelf. You don't have to kill 3 people to maybe purchase a bottle of it. Yeah. Still an amazing beer, but so many people just go to what's new and what's the latest and greatest release, and you know, forget all the rest of it. And you're seeing that more and more, which is unfortunate because people are passing up amazing beers, but they're also not, you know, they're not acclimating themselves to styles like they should. I feel like if you get into craft beer, you kind of owe it to yourself to kind of understand styles in general. Like just go through you don't have to, you know, no BJCP. I'm not talking about that. I don't care about BJCP.
Yeah, just give it a try and just
educate your palate on you know. And if you run the gamut on all these different styles and try different beers, you'll get a better palate. But you'll understand that there are a lot of awesome beers out there that you would have, you know, otherwise just thrown to the wayside because it's not something that people are clamoring for, which is BS. Just try some stuff. Open your eyes. Go down the Belgian section. Go down the English section. Pick up a random porter. Pick up a random Hefeweizen. Just start trying different styles. And you don't see it. So many people are the new money lemmings. I like to reference them because it's all about the latest and greatest. The harder it is to get, the better it has to be. Not necessarily so.
Well, I absolutely agree with everything you're saying. And as usual, I just think you're right. I make jokes sometimes. Oh, I'm an idiot, but that's like self-deprecation. I don't agree with that. I think you know what you're talking about. I think you're right, and I think you have a good handle on the market, and you're calling it correctly. That's the case as it stands right now. I agree with that.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that don't. You see it more and more in beer tubing with people who only review, you know, things that other people can't get.
Yeah, but what's the point of doing that?
It's for some reason it gets a lot of views. There's a lot of people that I guess get kicks out of, you know, looking at beers that they might never get a chance to try. I get the allure to it, but you should also throw in reviews of things everybody can get or well-known beers that you might be able to actually strike up conversations with other people about.
I mean, it's exciting. You get a hold of something that most people are never going to be able to buy, and you can do a review, and it's kind of special. But like you're saying, it doesn't really lend itself to have a whole lot of interaction.
No, not for the most part. And I think if you're a beer tuber in general, you should probably care first and foremost about your viewers and subs and the people you interact with, and less about likes, comments, likes and subs. I mean, people always say like, comment, subscribe, but you know, how much do those likes and subs mean if you don't get the chance to actually discuss it with other human beings?
I think what they mean is sub. That's the #1 goal. Sub, like, and maybe comment.
Well, you do have some Mr. Roboto going on. Again, Lee mentioned it, but you definitely do.
All right, I'll fix that.
No, I agree with that, Lee. It should be what you enjoy, but I mean, at the same time, I feel like if you truly enjoy craft beer, you probably like interacting with other human beings. Not another human beings, I should say, interacting with other people that kind of enjoy the same hobby you do for the most part. I've never understood having a beer tubing channel but never responding to comments or not looking into wanting to have a discussion. You know, I mean, that's
Sorry about the audio problem. I know it becomes a Roboto thing, and I don't know how to fix it. I go through
Arigato, Mr. Robot.
Yeah. What a disaster that was. But if I go through Internet Explorer, it doesn't develop. But no. But anyway, no, I was just saying. I think a lot of people, when they do YouTube, the goal is first they want subscriber. They say like, comment, and subscribe, but what they really mean is comment. They really mean subscribe, like, and perhaps comment.
Yeah. That being said, I've been really lack on my replying to comments recently.
But you tend to catch up on it, though, right? You'll go back and catch up on it, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll spend a few hours just going through. Well, I don't get that many comments to spend a few hours. It's probably just a
few minutes.
An hour at most. But I'll always get back to people on it. But I always feel guilty because I'm not doing it straight away, especially when you see like regular people commenting.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of the beast, really, isn't it? You can't keep on top of this 24/7 because there's...
No, it's not your life. Well, some people, I guess, it is. Hey, do you think... I want to ask you this before I get off of this. And I did make an encore appearance, but after I brushed my teeth and I said, I'm going to go back on, I feel a little energized. But this whole thing about the robot going around quasi-demonetizing people's videos, you know, the big uproar of the last month. Do you think that's going to kill off a lot of or a good amount of the YouTubers who are in it for the wrong reason, maybe?
It could very well do, I reckon. Well, because I've seen people who've just thought, I'm not doing this anymore. Can't be bothered with this.
Can't be bothered. Whatever.
Can't bothered.
I think people who are making a living at it, unfortunately, will be affected, and it does suck for them because they have established a viewer base and a fan base that you know, they earned. They put in the time, effort to get those viewers, and it was on an algorithm in which made them money, and that's kind of their livelihood. So to see a robot come in that you know, just demonetizes everything and is poorly like I get it. Like I understand if some advertisers don't want to have certain ads on certain channels, that should be within their right. But the problem with Google and YouTube in general is that they're never upfront and honest and open about it. It's like pulling teeth to try to get any kind of response from them, and that's, I think, what most YouTubers have an issue with, is the simple fact that there's no communication. They don't come out and flat out go, hey, this is how it's changing, so either clean up your channel or here's the they just, here's our new robot, you know, here's our new algorithm that we're not going to tell you it is, but it's a new algorithm and it's going to go around and you might see some demonetized videos, and all of a sudden like 98% of the people's videos are demonetized. They're like, well, what's happening? Oh, well, we can't tell you, or we don't want to tell you. And that leaves them between, you know, a rock and a hard place. Like, what, you know, what options do you do? They don't tell you if it's swearing. They don't tell you if it's the content specifically. They don't tell you if it's alcohol. They don't tell you if it's not alcohol. It's like you have to guess. And even when you guess wrong more often than not. So I think it's more of an issue people have with YouTube just not being open about what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, see,
I agree with that.
That's my biggest part. It's like what's like behind all of this, as opposed to the actual act itself. Because I know that some people within BeerTube have started to become a bit like... what's the word? They've started to break away from this because it's like, oh, it's I don't like this. But at the end of the day, I don't really think there's too many people reviewing beers online who are making actual money from reviewing beers online. So our little group isn't really affected by this, like literally. But it's like the fundamentals of it. Because there are people who are, you know, some of these like more, let's say, socially conscious or politically minded channels who might have, they like put one video out that doesn't really fit within the norm of what is available on YouTube. and then all of a sudden, every video that they've uploaded, it's like, oh, only a few advertisers will want to touch this video. So it sort of like suppresses what could be important viewpoints.
I agree. I don't think it's a good system at all. I think it's terrible. I'm just saying. My question was, do you think it's going to run some people off that might have had the wrong goal to start with? I think the system stinks, and there's no way you can get around it. I've talked to people that are in an uproar about it. Saying, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I said, there's no way you can fix it. I mean, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just you can't fight it. I mean,
I think if you're starting, I think if you're starting a beer tubing channel in general, hoping to make money, or you want to make money, you've already set yourself back multiple years. Because it's like, if you want to make money on YouTube, you got to do things that are appropriate for all ages. You want those 12, 13, 14-year-old kids to watch your content. You do. You want the teenager, because that's big part of the people who watch YouTube.
Part of YouTube is these.
And when you're drinking alcohol, like 18 and below, 19 and below, depending on where you are in the world, it's like you're already taking the vast majority of your viewers and just they can't watch it, or if they're watching it, they can't drink it or buy it, not legally anyway. So it's one of those things where you're doing it wrong. If you want to make money, I'll tell you a small story, a quick story. There was a YouTuber who hasn't hung out like in any of the circles that I've been in, any of the chats or anything, for a couple years now. But I remember offline, one time we went offline, and there was a couple guys in there, and he was asking a couple of the people, like, why aren't you monetizing your videos? And people were like, well, because I just do this for fun. He's like, no, what do you mean you're just doing it for this fun? You're supposed to make money. He went on this like long tirade of like 15, 20 minutes of why you should monetize and how much money you could make and stuff. I check his channel out every little once in a while. He's like 400 or 500 subs. Gets like 20, 30 views a video. Apparently he's still doing it wrong. So it's one of those things where, this is a niche market, a very niche, more so than any niche market out there on YouTube. And,
are you talking about Marvin?
I don't know what happened to Marvin. I hope he's all right. But no, not him. It was another individual. I will say no names, my friends. And it was one of those things where
name if it was a parody.
It wasn't a parody. It's one of those things, though. It's like, hey, the guys who are making money on BeerTube, like probably Greg from Greg's BeerTube. Clearly Chris from Beer Nation. Is it the Polish reviewer? I think it's the Polish reviewer that has like 100,000 subs.
Like Thomas Kopra or something like that.
They're probably making enough money. Maybe the Polish guy a little bit more, because he's in the 100,000 subs and a lot. But like, if you're talking about Chris or Greg, they probably make enough to pay for whatever beer they expend. Although at certain points, they've had beer sent to them. But if anybody got into it to monetize and to make a little extra coin, you'll see those guys. They'll be done, because there is no money to be made. Even if you sit there and fight every single thing, you might, after a year or two, get $100 check or something, but all the money you've put into your channel, whether it's equipment you're using or whether it's the beer you're buying or the trips you go on or whatever you're doing, your time, your effort, what's your time and effort worth? It's one of those things where you're not making much in beer tubing land, but you shouldn't care about that. You really shouldn't at all.
No.
Now, if you want to make money, do cooking videos.
Or really terrible comedy prank sort of videos.
Yeah, to do something that appeases to the masses who like that sort of stuff. But I think, in the comments here, Craig says something great. He said, made some great friends reviewing beer. That's priceless. And I mean, if that's all I ever get out of it, I've more than I could ever have hoped when I first. The first time I started watching BeerTube was back in 2009, and I didn't start interacting with anyone until about 2012. But I've hung out with a lot of people in real life. I've befriended a lot of people. I've been to other people's homes. They've been to mine. It's been an awesome experience, and I don't really care about the rest. It's a hobby where I get to spend time with friends and enjoy something I enjoy doing. The rest of it's irrelevant. If you can make some money, cool. But if that's your end goal, you're doing it wrong. For the most part.
It's like I'd be happy at the end of the year if it I can buy maybe a couple of bottles of something a little bit special.
I can get them a Keller box for half off.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
The robot has hurt your channel.
What was that, bro?
You don't find? Can you hear me still?
Yeah. You just broke up a little bit.
You don't find that the new system has hurt your channel?
I don't. I think my channel's because I didn't really have the biggest audience anyway. It's not really affected. When I see the like estimated monthly earnings on my channel prior to because I've been hit, every video now gets this not suitable for all advertisers, not suitable for all advertisers.
Same here.
But the money that I was estimated in the first place, it's not really changed at all. It's like it's always around that like $1.23 sort of ballpark. But then again, I've not even got like 300 subscribers on my channel, so I don't think it'd ever really affect me, to be honest.
Okay, and it hadn't affected Joe's channel.
I've made somewhere around like $300,000 with my 49 subs. Yeah, that's because one person sent me $300,000 via PayPal. Yeah. I was totally surprised, but he's funding my new channel. I appreciate it.
That's good. But yeah, I think, and I'm going to get off of this, but I think that let's say in a year, they're probably going to come up with some new system that's not teeing everybody off. That's just my prediction. Some robot that's not going to make everybody's video inappropriate. I don't know. I just feel that way.
Well, YouTube is a business, right? At this point, and if you
I mean, I don't care either way. To me, I don't care. I don't know if you can still hear me. I don't care. Yeah. But it is a business, and if they don't have any earners, they don't earn, right?
So someone will find somewhere else to go. So it's either fix your shit, have people stay, or don't have people leave. And I feel as a business, you probably should fix it. But we'll see if they do or not. I know they've been tweaking it. It's been tweaked a couple times, the algorithm and how it works over the past 6 months, but it's still not sufficient for a lot of people. It's not to their liking, certainly, and I guess we'll see.
They should ask your advocate how to change stuff. Scoring system, right? So.
Yeah, well, then Beer Advocate switched from their old one to the new one, and switched back to like just a straight out of 5 average because they listened to their fan base, their consumer base, the people who use the website, and people are like, I don't like the fact that if I rate it a 3.75 or higher, it just means you like the beer. Like I want an actual put a number out there and have it matter. And it was a couple weeks, and they switched it right back. I actually watched that back, but they switched it again.
And it kept changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they were just trying to try and do something a little bit different to what they had, but it was just not really working too well.
I remember 7 years ago, it used to be letter grades on Beer.
Yep. Yeah. And then they had the out of 5 on there as like their average score, but it was still letter grades. And then the Bros actually had their ratings for a long time. They took them away as well. But I appreciate Beer Advocates, constant changing because they're trying to look for. There's no such thing as a perfect system, but looking for something that more people enjoy. Where Rate Beer, you can pretty much set it on fire and throw it in a dumpster because it's a terrible website. And now that it's owned by AB InBev, not that I have anything against AB InBev, but I think that's kind of shady to begin with. It's like like number one, you were terrible to begin with. Like your site was on a scale of 1 to shit, garbage. It was bad. It was no one wanted to use it, and people would reluctantly bring it up in their reviews and be like, "Why am I even reading it?" And I'd be like, "I know you shouldn't. Just stop reading the Rate Beer reviews because they're terrible." They're still terrible. They'll continue to be terrible. And now they're owned by a big conglomerate that has a lot of beers on their site. That'd be like Beer Advocate all of a sudden being owned by like the Brewers Association or something. Just randomly, like, how is this impartial? Well, all the brewers, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're not part of the Brewers Association, how does that work? I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I'll tell you what, the guys who owned Rate Beer, that was like the easiest money anyone could ever make when you really think about it, because it was such a useless resource. It it didn't cater to anyone.
Nope.
People only used it because it felt right to mention it in like videos and bottle shops because they were
put a little tag on their beer or on the shelf.
Yeah.
Oh, 99 out of 100 rate beer. Is that in style overall? We don't know, but it got 99. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Good job. It is a useless resource. If I honestly, I think the best resource is, and I know some people don't like it because but I think Untapped is from a general perspective because you get people all walks of life, people who are craft beer nerds, people who are just regular folk who want to download an app and kind of keep track of what they drink. Maybe they're not into, maybe they just drink nothing but macros or nothing but fruit beers or nothing but whatever. But you get the truest sense of a beer from the entire world, basically, or anyone who wants to download the app. It's like Rate Beer and Beer Advocate, as great as they could be. Certainly not Rate Beer, Beer Advocate mostly. It obviously you have to be a beer nerd or geek to go on there and like rate them. You know, you're used to on Beer Advocate, you couldn't even just post a quick rating. You actually had to review the beer. So I feel like those were catering to the hardcore beer nerds and geeks because you actually had to put effort in to do all that stuff. So if I was reviewing beer on YouTube, I know crazy, right? What I would do is if I was to read it, I would get rid of Rate Beer and I would throw Beer Advocate and Untapped if you wanted a true representation of what people around the world are drinking. And even like I said, even Untapped more than Beer Advocate because I think it's more true. But I don't know. It doesn't even matter.
See, my whole thinking with the rating system, if you were a person to just go off like ratings and the numbers in general. I mean, we reviewed the Adam Scholarship today, and because I always like to make a note of what like the big three websites rate it. So, you know, on Rate Beer, 350 people rated the beer itself. On Beer Advocate, 116 people rated the beer. But on Untapped, 27,119 people had something to say about that beer.
How many?
Over 27,000 people compared to like a few hundred. And it's, to me, that offers a much more rounded opinion on a beer. Or in general, it could be somebody's rating on a movie, on like a restaurant that they've been to. The fact that so many people have engaged and put their opinion forward, I sort of value that a little bit more.
But here's the thing too, like and I 100% on board with you, Peter. I agree. But I will always say this, no matter how many YouTube beer tubers I enjoy watching and how much I do. Everybody I watch, I wait for the rating at the end because I am curious as to what they're going to rate it. But in all honesty, I don't really care about your rating. And you shouldn't care about someone else's rating. Exactly. The only rating you should care about in your entire life is the rating you give the beer. Just like when people go, "Oh, I'm watching a review. I'm glad you said this beer is awesome. I was on the fence. Now I'm going to get it." It's like that's one person who said it was awesome. Even if your palate aligns 90% of the time, like say you and me, Peter, our palate's 9% of the time on board. 10% of the time, we're not on the same wavelength. Until you try the beer yourself, you don't know if you like it or not. End of story. You might have an idea, but you don't know for sure. And so many people put so much stock in their ratings. It's like, it doesn't matter. If I watch a review, even though, like I said, wait until the end for the rating. Usually by the time someone rates something, if they're even just a halfway decent beer reviewer, I already know what they're going to rate in the general vicinity anyway. It's like, all right, he's going to give it an 8 out of 10. Sure enough, I'll give it 7.5. Okay, I was a little bit off, but I knew because you express how much you like or dislike the beer in a review. It's how it goes, or it should be how it goes. But too many people too much stock into ratings. It's just in all honesty, it's an arbitrary number. That's all
exactly. Yeah, it's the like ultimate form of being subjective when you put like a number or a figure from your personal preference, or even like a letter, or however you want to grade it. That's like aside from an opinion, that's like the ultimate form of being subjective when you assign a numerical or alphabetical value to something. And sometimes that does sort of sway me.
It's a good resource. Right? It's a good. Yeah. It's still a good resource.
Unless it makes you throw up, and then you can be objective.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Well, like a lot of people talk about like BJCP and stuff, and I have nothing against like BJCP. I understand it. I know it's same thing with being like a certified cicerone. There's there's a lot of pros to those. For BJCP, I mean, you can learn about a lot of styles. I mean, you don't even have to be going to be in a contest where they're rating homebrews or at Great American Beer Fest or whatever. You can still learn a lot through that. But there's a lot of people that will argue, not argue with me specifically, but will mention like, you should rate the beer to style on YouTube. If you want, you can. But there's no set way to do beer reviews on YouTube. You can do them however you like. You can do them to style. You can do them to personal taste. You can give 2 different ratings or thoughts for both. You could not at all. You could just talk about it. You could do whatever. But there's people out there like, oh, no, you can't. You got to rate the style. I can rate it to my personal like scale. Don't
tell me how I should rate a beer.
Yeah, it's your channel. I mean, we said it in the comments, but a lot of people say, well, like, at the end of the day, when you have a beer tubing channel or you have a channel on YouTube in general, you got to have a super interest in it. Like, you have to be so interested in it that you care about it. You have to care about it. You want to do it, because if you do it for any reasons outside of that, you're eventually gonna get bored with it. You're not gonna enjoy it.
Yep.
Enjoy it, all the rest follows suit. So when people tell me, oh, what do you think I should do about it? Do whatever you want. It's your channel. You can rate it out of 73 if you wanted to. I don't know. It's just whatever you enjoy.
You have free agency. Well, I'm going to go this time, and I'm like the Who. When I say I'm out of here, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I think I'm going to head off as well, because it is now 2:20, and I did not expect to be online.
It's only Friday.
For so long.
It's only Friday, Peter. Peter, it's only Friday.
Yeah, I know it is, but I'm
Raunchier just showed up in the comments. You're letting a lot of people down right now.
Well, I'm sure Raunchier would happily host a beer chat.
Well, he did it last night.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And we had a great time.
That was a good chat. I enjoyed that chat. I was really like watching the chats while I'm doing something. Never my own or anything that I've been involved in, but anyone else's, I'm perfectly fine to watch the replay.
Yeah, he said. Well, I'll read these 2 comments and you can tell everyone to F off. I just don't want to forget Craig, because he's
no one can forget Craig. No one can forget. No one can forget Craig.
No, never. He says, "Great for bars, bottle shop locations. Wank for ratings."
Wank.
Lee said also the new Google isn't really hurting the small channels much. It's the big ones who are, finding the ads being killed because they are the ones that make money, and people unsubbing from them. And what we're talking about really doesn't affect us. It certainly doesn't affect me because I don't have a channel. But yeah, no, I get that. And then Rajay says arbitrary is totally correct, which is why I've been hesitant on ratings. And then he says, "Where's Lance tonight?" Lance had 90 minutes.
He's already been here. He's had his 15 minutes of fame.
He's gone, and his hoodie's been through some things. So
yeah,
shout out to Lance's hoodie.
That's one storytelling piece of clothing right there.
Yeah, it is.
All right, well, we'll talk about the Beatles again one night.
I'm sure we will. But yeah, so I'm gonna call it off here anyway, because I'm a little bit knackered, as we say here in the north.
Let's do it. Let's do it. You take care.
Yeah, you take care.
I don't knackered. I'm on board.
Knackered. It's not naked, Joe.
Oh, I'm still on board though. It doesn't matter.
Whatever you same thing.
Told you earlier in the chat. I love you. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. It's just a mutual love that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
one another's channels.
Happy, and I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, me too. That's why I said it.
Yep. So yeah, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, even though there's really no ladies,
No. And all you need is love as a certain group.
Exactly.
So.
It's just a mutual. I'm not going to elaborate on that because it'll just go into weird territory. But yep. So massive thank you to everyone who's watched, everyone who's commented, Rod, Lee, Craig, of course Joe, even though he's now somehow managed to get into the chat.
Someone sent me a link somewhere. I don't think it was you, so I'm sorry.
No, I don't think so. I'd never do such a thing. But yeah, so I'm gonna call it off here, and hopefully there might be another chat with someone else in a little while, which I can watch while I'm slightly
on my channel.
Over.
Yeah, as exactly. On my brand new channel that has 49 subs, 7 of which I bought.
Yep, that was a good $10. Good $10 you spent.
I didn't like looking at 42 subs, so I was like, "What's better, 49?" Yeah, I can do math, kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't get the 10 subs for $10. You just get like a handful.
Yeah, they were like 7 for 10. I was like, 7 for 10. That sounds good. Like if I was buying 7 beers for $10, that'd be a good deal. So.
Yeah, that'd be a very good deal, actually. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll hopefully do another one of these soon. I think this has actually been one of the few chats where I've actually had people watching, and it wasn't just like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I mean, hey,
I think really at the end of the day, what you need to do is just kind of take over Friday nights. Throw Lance in the background. Sorry, Lance, you can jump on board, but this is Peter's night.
Yeah, I'm the new face of Friday nights on BeerTube, whether you like it or not. Unless Chad does one of his chats impromptu, but
yeah, then you're done.
Yeah, then he gets all the weird and wonderful comments. Anyway, thank you guys, and I shall hopefully see you all later. Cheers. Should have probably